And hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. I hope you can all hear me. And my name is Linda Nsabavera. I am the Vice President of IDO East Africa and the Chairperson of the IDO Investment and Business Committee. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank you all for showing up to participate in what I'd like to call going forward, a conversation and meeting of the minds. This is the first of a series of mini forums that are hello? Sorry, I was muted. Um, Let me start once again. Good evening, everybody. It's evening my side. Good afternoon, wherever you are, and good morning to those for whom it's morning. My name is Linda Nsabavera. I am the chairperson of IDO Investment Business Committee, but I'm also the vice president of IDO East Africa. I'm very excited to welcome you to the first of mini forums in which I would like us to start a series of conversations that are focused on business and investment activities, but really looking at it from the very first principles, but also how can we as a community and as a group start to make the changes that we need to make in order to deliver a more sustainable and economically viable community. And so over the next couple of months and another series of events that you'll actually see coming up, we'll be talking a lot about business, but we will be delving a lot more into the context, the challenges, the issues, but also trying to identify the opportunities. This afternoon, we will be focusing on the health sector. And just to give you a bit of the background in terms of how we arrived at this topic, when we consider ourselves as human beings and when we think about what we want to do for Africa, when we visualize what we want to do for Africa, I think over the course of the past year in IDO, we've been talking about how do we create generational businesses and generational wealth that we can pass on from ourselves to our children and our children's children. And there are key sectors that I think are very important for us to actually focus on. And when we think about the human being and what we need to survive, there are basic needs that we actually need. We need food, we need good health, we need shelter, we need clothing, we need energy, we need security. And so I always like to take my inspiration from the things that are happening around me. And so when you look at, for example, the development partners, think of the aid partners and the people who are doing foreign direct investment. These are the areas in Africa where they're heavily invested. And that's why I think even us as a community have to think about how do we invest in these particular areas as well? Because everything else that you actually consider is directed towards fulfilling one of these basic needs. And so I believe as long as we're in a business that is relevant to the human need, you'll be in a business for life. Now, on the broader spectrum, in the context of health, we are coming out of a global pandemic. There is now a clear exit strategy with the vaccine. And throughout the last 18 months, the message has been try and prevent yourselves, try and prevent and protect yourselves from getting the virus and contracting the disease. And so there's been a heavy message on prevention being better than the cure. And so we thought, let's go back to the first principles of health, which is prevention being better than cure, and look at it as a potential sector where we can start to create businesses, create solutions, and try to build investment models going forward. And so that's going to be the theme of our discussion this afternoon. And without preempting too much of the conversation, now that I've set the context, I would like to invite, if you just give me a second, I would like to invite His Highness Paul Eganda to come and give his opening remarks as we move into this event. Mr. Eganda, you're welcome.
Hello, can everybody see me? Hello? Linda,
hello.
can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you.
Yes, we can see you and we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Miss Linda, Chairperson IBC. Well spoken, well done. Greetings, salutations, Royal Highnesses, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Well, for me today, I'm really honored to be part of this first IDO Health and Investment Forum, organized and hosted by our own Business and Investment Committee. I'm really pleased because I can see a balanced representation here from various sectors of our communities and from countries and cultures from across the world. We have all been through a very challenging time during this pandemic, but now we have a chance to forge a way out of it together and really make a difference across our community. IDO is committed to its mission of bringing about social change across our communities. Let us all be part of this change, the change that we all want to see. Again, I am very pleased and I take this opportunity to welcome all of you. And I believe that by the end of today, we shall all have something to take back home. Ladies and gentlemen, you are most welcome. Thank you. Back to Linda.
Okay, just give me a second. Let me start my video. Today I was expecting Her Highness to also give us a few words as well. Will she be doing that? Am I putting you on the spot, Mrs. Eganda? And if within your remarks, you can invite a representative of the IDO board to come and give their remarks as well.
It's okay, let's proceed with the program. She will make her interlude later.
Okay, fine. All right, so thank you very much for welcoming us and hosting us as IDO. And so without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Martin Waitman, a member of the IDO Advisory Board, to give a few remarks, and then we will proceed. Mr. Waitman, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. And I'm happy to be part of this forum and looking forward to it. My role here on the advisory board is advisory board member for human rights and interfaith. And I want to tie that into the subject of health and also to give an understanding of why I have been asked to give some introductory remarks, which is that in my day job, so to speak, I partner with some other people in the field of nutritional medicine. I'm not a practitioner, but we provide some cutting edge testing for viral and bacterial testing, cancer monitoring, mitochondrial health, and other conditions that are often wrongly diagnosed as psychiatric when there is a physical cause. So my view is that the way that medicine has developed over these last years, this last 100 years even, is both extremely beneficial on the one hand and extremely damaging on another. And what we have to do is find the right path through these extremes. And I'll explain what I mean as I go along. But first, let's go back to the IDO principles, for which I am an advisory board member. So I'd like to go back to these principles and other principles here. And the first one is human rights, which is one of the core principles of IDO. It's one of its core operating basis. And these meet with medical ethics, with health and with medical ethics, and the center of which is the principle of do no harm. This goes hand in hand with the right to choose your own medical treatment, the right to be fully informed of the benefits, and perhaps more importantly, the negative or side effects of a treatment. It's your right to give fully informed consent to a treatment, and I emphasize fully informed consent. And often this aspect is lacking or just given lip service in some of today's allopathic medicine. Another principle of IDO is to respect the religious beliefs or no beliefs of others. And for me, this also ties into the field of health, both taking the above points that I've already mentioned into account, but also taking into account that we're all spiritual beings and not bodies. And I would like to take it a step further by saying that our own spiritual health, and some would prefer or say mental health, but I prefer spiritual health, that our own spiritual health has an impact on our physical condition as well. And this is an important factor that I think health practitioners, and many of them do these days, take into account. So to this extent, I feel that we should not treat illness allopathically, that is to say, concentrating on a symptom and treating the symptom, but holistically, taking into account all aspects of the living individual in front of you. But let me go back now to the good and the bad of modern medicine. There have been many, many wonderful advances in the field of science and medicine, which are undoubtedly beneficial. One of the most important fields of discovery today, in my view, is that of the immune system and how it interacts with the gut microbiome, as well as other areas of the body, how it affects the brain and the functioning of the organism that is your body. And just the fact that there are between 1,000 and 2,000 different species of gut bacteria in your body, and they all together can number anywhere from 30 to 400 trillion microbes is astonishing. But it's so important because these things are very important to your health, and the understanding of them is very important, therefore. On the other hand, the development of many chemical, and here I would specifically add psychiatric drugs, have a dangerous effect, which do not address the origin of the problem, but at best smother them, causing further problems. And this is a major problem in health today. There are many millions of people hooked on legal medical drugs, such as opioids and barbiturates and amphetamines, and this is a failure of modern medicine. This goes hand in hand with the vast financial vested interest, which represents hundreds of billions of pounds, dollars, whatever, that pharmaceutical and other companies and offshoots from them have into the health field. And that's an important part, I think, to going back to the subject of sustainability, to understand this and to find health treatments that are sustainable and affordable. So today we will be examining different aspects of health, but what is vital amongst them, and this has already been mentioned, is simply taking good care of your own body and what you eat. If you eat junk food and sugar processed food, GMO crops, pesticides laden food. All these things have crept into the diet to an alarming degree and are the cause of much of illness today. And then one of the last points I want to make is that of natural traditional remedies. To a significant extent, traditional remedies have been ignored, ridiculed, or even copied, but using synthetic drugs, which don't really take into account the interactivity of a plant-based remedy, which will contain many different natural substances. There are many traditional herbal and other remedies from cultures around the world that have major value and workability. And I feel it is vital that such tried and tested remedies as these are included in our pharmacopoeia of modern medicine, and they should be in use today. And then on the subject of COVID, I have not touched into this area so far, and I'm leaving that until last because I think that an infection such as the latest COVID variant can best be dealt with by ensuring that our populations are healthy. This is the bottom basic reason for not getting ill or to not get ill. This does not mean that these people, if you're predisposed to illness due to your poor immune system and to pre-existing conditions, due to poor diet and poor food, then you are far more likely to get ill and to in fact die, as many people have done, from pre-existing conditions which have just been exacerbated by this COVID variant. Of course, besides general good health, there should be other measures too. But I would go so far as to assert that there are simple preventative measures that have been ignored this last year or so. And that, you know, these include healthy bodies, the right vitamins and minerals being amongst them, as well as other things that, had they been adopted from the start, would never have plunged us into such a state of affairs as we are facing today. Our communication lines must be open to debate and to discuss all kinds of solutions to medical problems. And I have to say that today, the censorship you find on social media and some of the more traditional media platforms, the newspapers and so on I'm talking about, is a serious threat to another basic right, that of the right to freedom of expression. And this is where, again, we enter into the negative side of modern medicine. So I hope those introductory words have, you know, opened up some thoughts and given some direction. And so with that introduction, I really wish you well in all your presentations and the future discussions. And I look forward to this being a very informative and useful meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Whiteman. And yes, I welcome your comments. I appreciate your comments. I think you have very succinctly captured a concern of mine, which has been for the past, well, since I can remember, since I was young, or all I've seen in my lifetime, is the investment, whether be it in the private or the public sector, has focused on a sick population. It has been hinged on a population that falls sick eventually and has to visit a hospital and has to visit a doctor. And although that will continue to be an integral part of the healthcare system, I do believe that we have the opportunity as a community to think and to visualize and strategize and mobilize and realize how we can invest in healthy populations and making our populations healthier so that they do not fall sick, but eventually if they do fall sick, then they can have better health outcomes. And so thank you very much for mentioning that. this for me is also, I'll just touch on the importance of having these spaces within IDO. What you've said is very important in terms of what can be said in the public, whether in mainstream media or social media. So we want to create a safe space for us, ourselves and our communities, and for even other people to come and join and express themselves in a way where they do not feel censored, but in a place where they can actually, communicate and feel that they're actually heard. And so thank you very much for that. And now I would like to take us into the next part of our program. And I'm going to welcome a member of the IDO Impact Group, Lady Paul. She'll introduce herself in greater detail when she comes in, and she will speak about what the IDO Impact Group is about. But I think over and above that, what she demonstrates
I don't
is
want
the strength of
they
community
will see me. No,
and the power of community, and why we must, continue to advocate for our people to invest and look out for one another. So Lady Mpo, the floor is yours. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Linda, for the opportunity. My name is Mpo Dindi. I'm from Lesotho, currently living in South Africa. And I am one of the leaders in IDO and a board member of IDO South Africa. And I am an entrepreneur by profession. Okay, I will get started. I am accompanied by the lovely Dr. Duduzile Chandiwana from Zimbabwe, who will take over from me after the 5 minutes of what I need to do. COVID hit us, and it has left a lot of casualties. Businesses were lost. Jobs were lost. Lives were lost. And our immune systems have been so vulnerable, and we just need to live with what is going on. It has not stopped as yet, and we don't know where it is going. But we need to adjust with the changes that are ahead of us. What I have just mentioned is not something that is new. We have seen jobs being lost. We have seen businesses being lost. But definitely what happened with COVID, it was an impact that was felt and was felt hard. It has surely changed the way we live. It has surely changed the way we do business today. IDO Impact Group is a family. It is a community of individuals, NGOs, and companies who believe in a vision, of making a positive impact in the world, especially in Africa. An impact that will not last now because COVID has hit. An impact that our generations after generations will benefit from. We are here to offer solutions to the challenges that the world is facing today. And the two challenges that are on top of the list is what we are talking about today. It is about our health. It is about our financial status. We all have dreams. We all have the needs to be excused, to be fulfilled. But many times when you ask the next person to say, why are your dreams or your needs fulfilled? They will say many excuses. And I'm not being insensitive when I say excuses. And one of them will be money. They will say, we don't have money. But we all know that we don't need money to do something, but we need resourcefulness. That is where the impact group is trying to get people to say, we don't need money, but we need to be resourceful. There are opportunities everywhere for everyone. We just need to be resourceful and identify those that talk to our heart. And also, many times people in Africa or everywhere, when they need to impact in the world, they will say, we need to invent something. And us as Idol Impact Group, we are saying, no, we don't have to invent anything. We can use something that has already been invented by others that will be of benefit to us, a model that we can actually use to do our part in the world. And we are saying, most of us on this call, we have cars, we have smartphones. Did we invent that? None of us on this call has invented that, but most of us are using that to actually make a living. So we then adopted $1 billion model in health and youth enhancement system. And many would think when I say $1 billion model, oh my goodness, then to be a part of Idol Impact Group, I have to have millions to do that. No, you don't. Remember, my first statement was you need to be resourceful. For you to start up a business with Idol Impact Group, you need $30. This month is actually $1. Where in the world would one start a business with $1? And we have adopted this vehicle that is trading in 147 countries. Us alone, we know that we would not be able to. How much would it cost you to have a franchise in 147 countries? And with Idol Impact Group, we say you need $30 to be able to do that, and in 6 continents. Anyone with a smartphone can be part of what we are doing. This is the industry whereby when people were losing jobs during lockdown, it grew by 300%. And we have already seen the fruits and the benefits of that. And we call upon idols, we call upon kings and queens, we call upon NGOs, and we are saying, NGOs, this is time to create our own destiny. It is not time for us to wait for the handouts and for the donations. Who has money now? Everybody will say, COVID hit. We need to make a plan for us to continue the vision that we had when we started the NGOs. This system that we are talking about, this system, it was COVID ready. Hence, I have said it grew by more than 300%. And gone are those days when we would be looking for handouts. Through this system, schools have been built, clinics have been built, hospitals have been built. And it is coming closer to home, where in Kenya, this system has actually managed to build those schools. And we are looking forward as Idol Impact Group to an opportunity whereby we can identify a school that will say, this is an Idol school. This is an Idol hospital, even if it's just a section of that. So can you imagine if 100 of us can have the opportunity to do that in our communities? What impact are we going to be putting in our communities? This is a group that will be launching formally very soon, in about a month. And if you want more information, please contact us on info@idolnetwork.org. But I would love to leave you with this saying, and this saying, it is from Richard Branson. And he says, opportunity favors the bold. If someone offers you an amazing opportunity, but you believe or you are not sure you cannot do it, say yes and learn after how to do it. As IDO Impact Group, we are offering you this amazing opportunity. We are also offering you this amazing opportunity that has got a huge impactful impact into the communities that we live in. And we are saying, let's lock arms and support one another in this. We also have the amazing Dr. Duduzile Chandiwana from Zimbabwe, a specialist in systems research, who will be telling us more about this vehicle that we are talking about in terms of health. And she will also be doing this in details on the 28th of May, 2021 at 7 p.m. UK time and 8 p.m. South African time. We appreciate our leaders, Mr. and Mrs. Iganda, for the opportunity for this IDO Impact Group to be created that is positively impactful and impacting our communities at large. And we are saying, let's support them, let's join in, let's hear what it's all about and make necessary decisions. Dr. Duduzile, over to you, and thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Po. I hope everyone can hear me now.
Yes, we.
I would like to leaders that are among us and say how grateful we are for this opportunity to share the information that we have, that Madam Po has just alluded to in terms of how do we achieve the objective of health and wellness? How do we achieve the objective of prevention better than cure? The recent epidemic, which is still on and raging in some continents, has been the unfortunate painful teacher as to how important prevention is. I'm just going to add a little bit more from where our colleague, Mr. Waitman, has discussed the issues of the dietary lifestyles of medicine, its impacts on our bodies, the adverse impacts. Given the advancements that we all acknowledge, medicine has made unprecedented in this century advancement in terms of tackling various ranges of diseases. However, we are now concerned, we are now saying, here is an epidemic upon us, and we suffered greatly, we still are suffering. Prevention is better than cure. I am sharing good news, both in the business context and also in the context of our health, well-being, and preventative health. The good news comes from science, the application of science and technology, and how far it has advanced. And what I'm just going to share today is very briefly about understanding how that science has advanced and what that science and technology is, the product range. It's more than a product range, basically, it's a philosophy of how the body is now better understood, how it interacts with certain nutrients, how those nutrients when taken in certain quantities from a range of products, how they actually have given us this possible. we have been lamenting about cellular degeneration. Now, cellular regeneration is possible. The various sciences, it's not a session of big words or whatever, but it's just science is what it is, and those words are what they are. We will just share them very, very briefly, from which this range of products that help us to in our path of preventive health, in our path of prevention is better than cure, in our path of building a robust immune system that will see us through at such times as this. The period that we are in, not even our scientists were able to have predicted it, but here it is, here we are. We are talking about epigenetics. Epigenetics is basically the science, one of the newer sciences of how the body is helped by what we eat ourselves. The prevention of the cells work optimally. We are going to talk about that briefly from a dietary, nutritional perspective. The other science from which we are sharing this good news is nutrigenomics. Nutrigenomics is basically a study of how our genes in our cells interact with specific nutrients, are activated, they deactivated to give us the best optimal health. We are talking about this package of products that we have, this philosophy of science of saying prevention is better than cure, of stem cell regeneration in our bodies. The science have told us that the optimal health, as we walk about doing our business in our own bodies, between the cells that die, normally natural, and through various causes, of course, and the cells that are then replaced, the capacity of the body to replace the cells. How does the body have the capacity to replace the cells, stem cells? And we are talking about nutrition, nutrients that activate stem cell production in our own bodies, natural stem cell production, and natural stem cell mobilization around the body. Scientists have measured that the amount of stem cells that will be circulating in the blood system at any given time, the more they are, the better the health outcome, because they are able to respond better to viral infection, bacterial infection, all sorts of infections. If there's a cell that has to be replaced wherever, whether it is in the brain, whether it is in the heart. So we have a product range that is able to give us these possibilities. Now that science is advanced, and it is within our fingertips. That's the good thing about it. We are talking about generally nutraceuticals as opposed to the pharmaceutical range of production. We are talking about natural healing, nutritional intakes, nutritional supplements. This is really where we are, and this is the good news. We are talking about, I've talked about the increase of stem cell production in our bodies, the increase of cellular repair, reducing damage of cells that have been damaged, cleaning them from toxins called free radicals, and overall better health, overall energy, higher energy productions, overall lifespan increment, and overall longevity. So I will just introduce one of the products very, very quickly. One of the products is a powerful antioxidant called Reserve. This is just a trade name, but the major ingredient which many scientists would know is resveratrol. Resveratrol is one of the most powerful ingredients. We have this powerful ingredient in a product called Reserve. What does this product do? It's an antioxidant, cleans the cells. Oxidative damage comes from a variety of causes. Part of the causes of oxidative damage is really just inhaling oxygen. It's a natural reaction from us inhaling oxygen, and it produces free radicals in our system as well as others. Resveratrol, a powerful antioxidant, helps the cells clean them of that oxidative damage, repair them, and then they are able to act better. And it goes further, actually. It has more other properties that we don't have the time to talk about today. Science has shown that in many research in the trials, the single molecule resveratrol can penetrate the cell membrane and be able to stimulate certain enzymes in the cells. They've got long names. When these enzymes are stimulated, they are able to increase mitochondria, which Mr. Weightman has already talked about, the multiplication mitochondria in the cells, which gives us the energy, gives the cells the energy to fight whatever diseases. But also, in addition to that, the resveratrol in that particular product that I'm talking about in Reserve has been found to have cancer-fighting abilities. When these enzymes are naturally stimulated within our own cells, the healthy cells are able to detect sick cells, including malignant cells, gang up around them, be able to cut off the blood supply to those cells and eliminate some of those malignancies in our systems. Now, it's a long story how it actually works, but this is just by way of introduction. The other product that I want to quickly introduce, which is the good news in this package that we are bringing forth, both from a business and health perspective, is Finity. Finity contains one major product that has been found to do DNA repair. When you inject a single molecule, powerful active ingredient, they're called astragalus. It's an extract of an astragalus plant, TA65. Many may have heard of it. When it has been labeled TA65 penetrates deep into the cell, right into the nucleus, into the cell, into the cell, and is able to repair damaged telomeres, thereby elongating life, thereby improving the health outcomes of whatever it is that an individual would like to talk about. Is called AM and PM. AM and PM is one of the few supplements which contains over 70 powerful active ingredients that acts both on our cell repair day and night, that focuses on the autonomic nervous system, which is there, and supports that system, supports the cellular the cellular activity in that system to ensure that by day they produce all the necessary proteins, enzymes, whatever, to give us the day active ability of the cell. And in the night, that system sort of shuts down. And then the PM night system supports the parasympathetic nervous system in terms of repair, cell repair, like taking your car into the garage for an engine overhaul every single night. And then produces all the enzymes, proteins that is required to give the cell the cellular rejuvenation and repair, so that by day you are back on and active again. AM and PM has been, I'm talking from a perspective of research trials, clinical trials, and the evidence that also comes from people who are just using the product and giving their testimonies. But they are all scientifically backed and scientifically proven on the efficacy of the specific active ingredients. Another program that I may just want to touch on, which also Mr. Waitman, it's aloe immune. Aloe immune contains 95% aloe vera, which we know about, and it has been used for thousands of years. However, research has taken us quite further in terms of understanding what aloe vera ingredients are. It has over 200 active ingredients that help our cells.
Thank you. I think that was a mouthful from Dr. And we will leave it at that as the IDO Impact Group. And you may join her again on the 28th of May, 2020 at 7 p.m. UK time or 8 p.m. SA time. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Linda. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, IDO Impact Group, and thank you for taking us into some of the details of the work we are trying to look into, the work we are trying to develop, the area of opportunity we are trying to explore as a community. And I think as we go into the next speaker, I just want to kind of like bring into perspective or into the consciousness of our minds as we talk about, you know, this particular area of healthcare, prevention and early detection as well, is that Mr. Whiteman earlier on touched upon some of the concerns he has around the healthcare sector and the business models that are being driven by, you know, the people who run the systems of the world. And what's very interesting as an observation is that if you look around, the very same people who invest in businesses and products that put our health at risk, when you think about fast food, when you think about high sugars or candy and the sodas, the GMOs and the highly processed foods, are the very same people who are investing in the healthcare services, in the hospitals, in the drugs, in the insurance schemes, which we rely so desperately on when we actually do fall sick. So there is a very interesting global thing at play going on, whereby there are people for whom you, on one side, they're satisfying a certain need, but at the end of the day, you're going to become a customer for them on the other end. And so if we strategically position ourselves to make sure that we are keeping people on a wellness path, on a path of prevention, I think there's really a broader and a deeper opportunity for us to actually explore as we go forward. But that's just what I wanted to bring to the table at this particular point of the conversation. But let me take this opportunity to invite Dr. Julian, who is our guest speaker today. And she is going to really do a deep dive into prevention better than cure, but building on what the IDO Impact Groups spoke about, you know, in terms of holistic health and her approach, her experience, but also her vision going forward for the healthcare services in Africa. Dr. Julian, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, my sister. Hotep, my extended family. Hotep is our greetings in Kemet, in Africa. In Kemet, when we say Hotep, it means peace, contentment. So when I say Hotep, you respond Hotep. I mean, be satisfied and be at peace. So Hotep respond so that we set the tone for this conference.
Protect. Protect.
Protect.
Protect.
Thank you. So I will be dwelling on optimal health. And optimal health is what WHO is all about. And that is their official definition. For WHO, health means a perfect state of well-being, physical, mental, not only absence of disease or illness. But I told you, I present myself as a medical and spiritual doctor, so I also handle this from the spiritual level, where I say, I pray that you, all my brothers and sisters, you may prosper in all things and be in health, in good health, as your spirit prospers. We insist on prevention being better than care. It means together a healthy body with a healthy mind. It is known, it's an old sentence by a Roman poet, and it has been adopted. So I said that I was praying that you will be in good health. It's what I have been doing throughout my career, but I also work to realize that, not only for myself, but also for my community. So you will understand that this is a great opportunity for me to handle these topics here in this health forum. I see it as a business incubator where minds meet and they mean business. Wherever minds meet, they create. Because we know anything started in the mind and then it manifests in the open, physically. So I'm grateful today for this opportunity. I'm grateful to God. I would like also to express my gratitude to His Highness Paul Jones Eganda, the president of IDO Network International, for extending to me the invite to speak at this virtual healthcare forum. Many gratitude also goes to the IDO Business Committee. I will introduce myself. I'm Julienne Kankumbui Katombe. I am a medical and a spiritual doctor. I'm a mother of 6, a grandmother of 11. I'm a princess and the ambassador of Kingdom of Embo Kingdom. I have practiced as a career pediatrician for 10 years in my nation of birth, the Democratic Republic of Congo, before emigrating to South Africa, where I have practiced in the same field for the past 26 years. And I'm now preparing to move into the field we are talking about today, into integrating alternative health practices into the Western medicine I've practiced for my whole life, and I have seen the limitation. So my assignment today is comprehensive approach to holistic health and wellness. It is very important in this post-COVID era. We say post-COVID because it's the language, but really we don't know if we are out or not. But by now, everyone is aware of the devastation caused by this SARS-CoV-2 pandemic on one hand, and the various mRNA vaccines introduced as the only way to return to normal life. But what is now evident for all is that those vaccines are not at all safe. Serious adverse events, including permanent neurological damage and even death, have been recorded. There is a hidden side effect that is not talked about. There is a risk of sterilization of the next generation to achieve what we don't want to mention here because our video will be taken out. These vaccines not safe, not effective as well. They are not able to break the transmission chain. It's why even people who have been fully vaccinated are still contracting the disease, and some are perishing. Not only it's not safe for those, it's not effective nor safe for those who got it. It's even a danger to the rest of the community, because those who have been vaccinated have been transformed in a plant producing the spike proteins. This is the part of that virus that is infectious. So they are producing them, and this is official. This is how they explain to us how these vaccines work. They say that the spike protein provokes your body cells to produce other spike protein. And then it stimulates your immune system to produce antibodies against them. But the trick here is that there is an on button, there is no an off button. So it means the body continues producing the viruses on one hand and continue to fight them on the other hands, with the risk of the system getting overwhelmed and start fighting even the safe cells of the body. So we have seen the first principle of medicine, of the Hippocratic Oath, has been overlooked. This principle is do no harm. With these vaccines, WHO is causing harm to the humankind. Where we are standing now, our future is at stake. Even those who are not vaccinated, even those who have invented this, are at risk of being wiped away. Immunologists are warning everybody about this no off button. So what we need to do now is to build our own immunity. It's the only protection we have, both for the vaccinated and those who are not. We have to optimize our immune system by all means. What is this immune system? This is the inbuilt system in our body as human beings to survive in our ecosystem, because we are not the only one living on Earth. There is many other ones. There is all kinds of viruses and bacteria and parasites. But with our optimal immune system, we live in harmony. So I will dwell a bit on what we should do to optimize our immune system, since it's the only way we will survive in this time, and make sure that we do not transfer damaged genes to the next generation. Because any pain, any trauma you go through, if you do not repair, it will leave a mark on the genome and it will go to the next generations. It's why some people will suffer like post-traumatic syndrome while they did not suffer those trauma themselves. It is inherited. So I'm saying we need to pay attention to our life choices. Life now and beyond depend on that. Sunshine is very important. It is our natural way to get vitamin D that is paramount for that immune system. But to make sure that we don't lack, we should also think about taking supplements of that vitamin D. It is even more important for melanated people who live in the Western world, because of the melanin, even when there is a bit of sun, it's a barrier for the sun rays to manufacture that vitamin D. So for them, they should even double the supplement of vitamin D. Throughout this year, we have heard about zinc supplement, about ginger, garlic, all these things you have heard. Please, you have to practice them. Good nutrition is paramount, but what we eat these days, its nutritional value is very depleted because of the way they are producing. So though you eat varied and balanced healthy diet, you still need some supplement. You should consult to make sure to know what you really need. Something all of us should do, practice, is fasting, intermittent fasting. Eating on 3 hours is focusing your energy on digestion. If you give yourself 12 hours, then that energy will be focused on building, boosting your immunity, regenerating your cells, rejuvenating your organs. We should try to do that. Does not need to be dry. You can be consuming water during that time. You know, 70% of our body is water. Something else very important, good night sleep. Make sure you get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Better in a dark room, because the light stimulates our pineal gland to produce the hormones, serotonin, that wakes us in the morning, melatonin, that puts us at bed at night. So it is very important. Sleep enough to wake up in the morning refreshed. This is what will tell you that you had had enough sleep. If you wake up in the morning tired, it means you did not get enough sleep, and it will catch up with you. So we said nutrition, sleep, moderate exercise. It can be only movement. Movement for us women, doing your house chores can be enough. Walking in your house, walking in your yard can also be enough. But if you can allow yourself walk in nature, in the garden, barefoot, be in contact with the soil, it will do good to your body, to your immune system. Work on your stress level. Stress cannot be avoided. We just need to manage it. Low stress level is what your body can manage. If you are in a stressful situation, it will send a message that you are in danger, and the cortisol will go up and you will fight or fly. But you cannot live permanently in that state of stress. So you need to manage it. There is breathing exercise. If you breathe in, you know, usually when you are stressed, somebody will tell you, take a deep breath. It comes from there. Science has shown that if you take a deep breath, you hold it for a while, and you expire, you you exhale longer than you inhale, and you repeat this for 3-5 minutes, you have regulated your biology. I would like to advise you to try it. When you are in a stressful situation, do that. Breathe deeply in, counting like 5 seconds, and breathe out longer. You will see that it will relax you. Avoid all the addictions, the alcohol, the cigarettes. Avoid, it does not do good. Try cold showers. It has been proven scientifically that it boosts your immunity and it reduces stress. Practice all kinds of spiritual discipline, depending on what you have been initiated to. They are all the same. Nothing amongst them is evil. You need that because your mind works hand in hand with your body. It is said, mens sana in corpore sano, that a healthy mind will live in a healthy body. Vice versa. So for you to be healthy physically, your mind needs also to be healthy. Unfortunately, the way I was trained, the way my friends have been trained, our focus in training was on the body. So the way we handle our patients, we are focused on the body. We ignore the mind because it has been made a specialty and a neglected one. Every time you want to touch, people feel stigmatized because they confuse mental health with mental illness. Mental well-being is necessary for us to be also in good health in our body. How does it work? It communicates. Anything our body does, the command came from the brain. At the same time also.
Sorry, Dr. Julian, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We have some presenters who have to go to another meeting. So just kindly asking you if you could bring this to a close so we can move to the next part of the discussion. Thank you. Unmute.
Kindly unmute, doctor. Please unmute.
Let me conclude that all this was to say the healthcare system, we are to move in now that we have the opportunity to reset, because we hear on the economical level, they speak about economic reset. Let us also reset in the health sector. We have the knowledge, we have the expertise, we have everything, but we must remember that they will not take it lying low. You have heard about many of our people who have been taken out because they came out with one or the other solution. So if we are going to do these things safely, we have to think about a way of protecting our people. We will first do it in a small scale within our own communities, because if we try to make it big, we are going to face these big corporates and they will come after us. As my sister F shown that they are the same, building your health, destroying it, so that you are their client forever and ever. My objective today was to invite you to think together with me how I am going to realize this project in the center of our continent, in the center of my own country. The dream, the vision is already far. There is a whole team working on it. We would like to create that environment, because teaching to people do this and this, not everybody is able to do that. So we want to create a city, because in Africa we say it takes a whole village to raise a child. So we want to recreate these villages we have destroyed to move into the big cities. And we are created as a whole city where it will be the lifestyle of everyone living there. And the children will grow up knowing that this is the normal way, preventing, not waiting to get sick, to run to the hospital or to the chemist to get a tablet that just puts you to sleep, does not solve the problem. So thank you for the opportunity given to me to share this. Hotep, my people. I thank you so much.
All right. Henrietta, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much, Dr. Julian Kanku. We really enjoyed that talk. And thank you so much, Madam Linda, for inviting me to start off moderating this forum. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name's again Henrietta Wamala, and I am the Vice President of IDO here, serving under the Vice President of IDO USA, serving under Mr. Nicholas Kalanzi, and also working with the chairman and the team at AIBC. I'm honored to be given this opportunity by His Excellency Paul Enganda to be here with you today to serve you. I'm going to start off this forum, and my goal here is to bring together the meetings of the minds that Madam Linda has put together on this panel, and we explore the healthcare investment opportunities and also see how we can build generational wealth, and while promoting and making sure that we meet IDO's core objectives, and that is to serve the communities. So not to waste any more time, I'm going to be introducing our panelists today. I'm going to start off with Madam Linda that put together this forum. Madam Linda Savarera is the AIBC president, and she will join the panel today to talk about how we can turn challenges into opportunities and provide insights on the investment climate and how we as a community can position ourselves to become major players. As we get into this forum, I'm going to ask everyone that's not speaking to please mute their phones or mute their audios so that we can be able to actually listen and be able to understand what our presenters are giving us today. So I see someone by, I guess, the name 20. Your audio, I think, is up. Can you please mute your audio? Because we cannot really hear the other people when they'll be called upon to speak. The other presenter that will be on this panel is Enke Weishart. Madame Enke Weishart is an agricultural engineer with a master's in agriculture science degree and resource management. And she will be, she's actually going to be one of our first presenters because she'll be leaving for another meeting and we don't want to keep her here for long. But she has more than 16 years of experience in tropical agriculture, value chain development, and agribusiness in East African management. She actually has been in Barara University, Science and Technology, which is a university I know, and she's an external expert to the European Commission Horizon 2020, a member of the Governing Council in the Sub-Saharan Open University, SSOU, and also serves as a regional expert in the World Health Organization on traditional medicine for COVID, for the COVID response team. So Madame Enke will be our first panelist to present, but before she does, I'll also go through the other panelists. And the next panelist is Dr. Patrick Wambua. He will be speaking about the importance of pharmaceuticals as an integral part in the health services value chain. And he will also highlight the opportunities in the manufacturing and distribution of pharmaceuticals and other health products and services in Africa. The other panelist will be Madame Yandisa. Madame Yandisa Sokanyile is the IDO ICT advisor, and she will highlight the importance of digital technology in creating awareness within the health sector and improving service delivery. She will also give examples of digital solutions and their capabilities. And then we have Madame Michelle Malcolm, who is going to look at the impact of COVID by considering who has succumbed to the disease versus those who have survived, and how we use this knowledge moving forward to address the growing risk from non-communicable diseases that are projected to be leading the cause of disability and premature death. That is going to be one talk that I've been looking forward to. And we have Mr. Will Swangela from Nairobi. He will share his experiences in herbal medicine and how we address the stigma and misinformation surrounding the African herbal medicine so as to participate in the growing global wellness economy. So we have some questions that we have prepared for these speakers, and they will guide us through this session as we move forward. I'm going to invite my first panelist, and that is Madame Enke Weishart. Miss Enke, are you ready to start off this presentation?
Yes. I'm ready, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Madame Enke, welcome to the floor. And as we start off, I'm going to pose you a question that maybe will help you guide us through this forum. And my question to you is, research and development is usually underfunded and underdeveloped when it comes to healthcare in Africa as a whole in comparison to what happens here in the Western world. What insights can you share with the audience that can be explored as potential opportunities when it comes to healthcare investment that will result in bankable profits at the end of the day? Can you please shed some light also on the packaging and branding and how it can help push one's product, especially in the healthcare industry, so that it's made more palatable to customers and investors out here? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Henrietta. First, I'd like to talk briefly about the current state of research and development in Africa. It's just an overview. Healthcare research and development conducted in Africa is usually funded by international funders focusing on allopathic medicine, including research on existing allopathic treatments on broad. Two, African governments often have little budget allocated for research and development in general, including health research, one African solutions. Modern medicines come out of research, partly done in Africa, will be produced as novel drugs in high-tech factories outside Africa. Field research done sometime in Africa, but samples analyzed and results commercialized outside Africa. And benefit sharing can be a challenge as production is outside the reach of the African scientists involved in that research. Now, one possible solution, the overall solution I put here for this dilemma is, first of all, facilitating the focus of the research into research of African solutions for African development. And this in focus is on supporting African-based research on African medicine, herbal and African traditional healing methods. Now, as the overall, I would suggest that IDO is creating a platform and foundation, a non-profit IDO foundation supporting research and development in Africa, where investors can pool corporate social responsibility funding into it. Why I say non-profit IDO foundation? We need a pool, we need a basket from where we can draw later the research funding. And also investors need a tax return base. So the IDO foundation can be a non-profit and therefore the funders can get a tax refund. And that is why usually corporate social responsibility is given to NGOs and non-tax, also tax deductible institutions. Now that's the overall solution I'm suggesting. Other solutions are attract African center research from wherever is, from funding from African-minded people. This can be African companies within Africa, in the diaspora, or other companies who are willing to support African-based solutions. Tap into the wells of traditional medicine knowledge systems in Africa to improve existing indigenous medicine and nutraceuticals by supporting the knowledge holder and collaborating researchers. And this can lead to commercial products. So that is where there is a phase of non-profit, non-commercial investment in research and development with a target of getting commercial products, and then they can be commercialized and the business for profit. Create an investment fund, I have already mentioned, and create and support existing or new centers of natural medicine research in Africa. Research needs to be done to compete with the imported herbal medicine products. There are a pressure from outside, Chinese, Indian herbal medicine, flooding the Ugandan or African market. Now, how to counteract it and make the business open to African traditional medicine, and therefore a business opportunity for investors, is by doing the research, doing the proving, the validation, the safety, so that it can be registered and therefore joining the commercial market. Another one is a direct business opportunity is creating wellness centers.
Help us out, Sarah.
And healthcare facilities based on African traditional healing and revitalization practice. In the Western world, in Europe and America, there is a lot of business opportunity in the wellness sector, where spas and wellness centers where people travel to and stay 2 to 6 to 8 weeks to get wellness, to get good feeding, drinking from a healthy spring, having exercises, having different activities to revitalize, to become healthier, to become fitter. So these are not sick people. These are healthy people who like to spend money on getting wellness. So these are coming up in Africa, and this would be in combination for a business when in the moment tourism is mainly based on wildlife, on nature. So if it can be combined and say, we have a spa, we give you opportunity of wellness, massage, good feeding, different types of wellness interventions, and also combine it with safaris, with the classical African safari, animals, wildlife, and so on. That is a business opportunity. Another business opportunity is to actually create hospitals which are fostering traditional medicine use. Now, especially in urban settings, traditional medicine care practitioners are often
Ingnia Anki, are you there? I think we lost you.
seen that I was spending a good evening at an herbalist clinic, and this clinic got drivers of people, not even the person themselves, drivers of Pajero picking medicine for the bosses. So why not making the clinics modern, and the way the modern clinics are set up with patient care, with reception, the way the modern clinics are on inside, traditional health practitioners are practicing. Now then we come to the medicine. I mentioned there's a jelly can of this and a jelly can of that, or powder here, powder there. And it's cumbersome. Number one, the jelly can of drink, you say 1 cup 3 times a day, is too bulky. Can we form it into a tablet capsule, in a syrup, in a small tincture bottle? So making African medicine more easy to carry, longer lasting, and also easier to take. Some of the medicine is very bitter, and especially children. It is hard for children to drink or to take African medicine when it's very bitter. So making nowadays a business, the medicine, to develop in a more palatable product, better packaged, better branded, more easy to carry for an investment opportunity. And then another one is to create, is also direct business, not R&D. Direct business is to create small training centers for natural medicine and cosmetic making. You can then offer locally to local people who are interested in making home remedies and natural medicine. There is a market for it. And also to attract international people who are interested to do summer school. As a summer school, you have a 2 weeks natural cosmetic, natural medicine making, and also use it as part of an active holiday. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ingnia Anke. Thank you so much for your presentation. I'm going to invite Madame Linda next, the AIBC president, and I would like her to come and address the audience on how to turn challenges into opportunities, while also providing insights on the investment climate out there, and how as we as a community can position ourselves to become the next major players in healthcare investment. Madame Linda, welcome to the floor.
All right, thank you very much, and thank you to all the speakers. And I think I will pick up from where Dr. Julian left off, in terms of her call to action. She had a call to action in terms of how can we build these holistic centers, or these spaces, I think, generally speaking, because when you think about building a city, that can seem so monstrous and so beyond reach. But I think at the essence of that conversation is we need to build those areas of specializations, those cities, those communities where people can come for their healthcare needs. And I think in a very similar way, that is also what Anke has also highlighted in terms of their wellness centers, where people who are not actually sick, but they need to go there to just continue on their journey of wellness as well. And so I think what Anke has done for us, in terms of when we look at the healthcare spectrum, she's given us a list of potential ideas and potential areas where we can actually go and start thinking up or finding people who are in these areas and actually scale them up. But if I go back to what you actually said, in terms of turning challenges into opportunities, when we think about the last 18 months, everybody in their home, and Dr. Julian touched on this, everybody in their home, in their community, they've had a certain concoction that they've done, which either has lemon or garlic or ginger or some black pepper, whatever it actually is, and they're taking it on a daily basis. Now, there are some people who have actually seen that and said, listen, I have something that works. It works for me. It works for my friend. And they have now gone ahead and they've turned them into products that they can now sell. And this is just, they sell them as juices. They're like, it's now like, I think they call it a COVID juice. It comes in a 1 liter jerry can, extremely very potent when you actually take it. But that is where somebody has started from. And she is reaching out and she is, on a very small scale, doing her part in terms of harnessing this business opportunity. But there is a need after a couple of months and a couple of period of success that she's going to actually scale up. And I think this is now where the kind of work that Anke does, in terms of research, is how can she come in and work with this person and be able for them to produce a product that they can sell en masse. They can put on pharmaceutical on shelves in the pharmacies. They can give to doctors, or you can find it in a supermarket. There is a way in which they have to package it so that they are able to actually reach the mass market. And so that's what I can say in terms of what has happened in the last 18 months. But if we speak a little bit more broadly in terms of the healthcare sector, right now, just before COVID hit, I think World Health Organization and many other government and non-government organizations were speaking about, were concerned about the rising cases of non-communicable diseases, the hypertension, the diabetes, and how it was projected to be the leading cause of disability and premature death in Africa. But I think, it's kind of like what's happening in the rest of the world. And, we had a conversation about this earlier in the week where Michelle corrected me in terms of perception, where people are told that, listen, if you go down this route, if you have diabetes, you're going to be on medication for life. If you have high blood pressure, you're going to be on medication for life. And so we have been conditioned to see healthcare in that particular angle. And yet there are people amongst us who are actually saying that, no, with a couple of lifestyle changes, with a couple of education, with more information, you can reverse some of these health effects that you're struggling with. And so when we look at the whole healthcare value chain, like I said in the very beginning, a lot of work still needs to be done in terms of investing in hospitals, in terms of ensuring we have doctors available who can treat, because the number of patients is growing. But right now, what's happening is that it's becoming so amorphous, like how many hospitals can you build? Because before you even start building a hospital, you think about $2 million that goes down before a patient even walks through those doors. And as money becomes scarcer, as resources get tighter, as our population continues to grow, it's becoming continually challenging for our governments, and even private sector in terms of how do they address this problem. So it then becomes, there are new solutions on the horizon that the people like Yandisa are talking about, in terms of digital. Digital can enable you deliver some of the very same services that you get in a brick and mortar hospital, but they can help you deliver them to en masse at a fraction of the cost. So I think for us in this group is that we have a lot of ideas that we have seen, what Anke has suggested, what Dr. Julian has suggested, but I think what the rest of the speakers will come in and suggest, but also what Yandisa works on a day-to-day basis. our challenge right now as a group is how do we bring this all together? How do we all start working together? I know in these conversations, contacts will be exchanged and people will start having these conversations. But now how do we take that into some form of action that we can start to build viable businesses and viable investments, but at the very same time, take care of a very real human need that is in front of us.
Thank you so much, Madam Linda. That was insightful. And as we move down to our panelists, I'm going to introduce and bring Dr. Patrick Wambua next. Dr. Patrick Wambua is calling in from Nairobi, and he's a practicing pharmacist. Dr. Wambua, I have a question for you, and it also comes with a fact. It is a fact that in Africa, many people depend on their pharmacists for curative medicines, sometimes more than even the medical doctors. Many folks wait until they are severely ill, then go to the hospitals or doctors when sometimes it's already too late. Now, as a practicing pharmacist, what have been your reflections on COVID? And what are your thoughts on how business will be carried post-COVID as we look into the future? Thank you, and I would like to welcome you to the floor, Dr. Wambua. Can you unmute yourself, please? Yes, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all participants, wherever we are. My name is Patrick. Thank you. And
got many devices that we
inviting me to the meeting. I want to thank the previous. They more or less touched on what I'm about to talk about, especially the Dr. Duduzile, Dr. Julian, and the
Hello,
engineer.
doctor. Please switch off one machine. Switch off the phone.
You'll allow me to be very brief.
You are signed on both the phone and the computer. We can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yes. Just switch off one machine. You've got a phone on and a laptop on.
Yeah, because
mute one. Please mute one machine.
Computer gives me proper audio. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but there is echo. You've got two machines on.
Let me mute one.
Go on. Henrietta, please unmute.
Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yes, we can. Yes.
You can. Okay.
That's better.
That's better?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Envieta. Thank you to the previous speakers who have spoken before me. I especially want to say the speakers who have spoken before me, like Dr. Duduzile, Dr. Julian, and Engineer Ange, have more or less touched on what I'm about to touch on. As I said, my name is Patrick. I'm a pharmacist. I've been working public sector, now in the private sector. My subject is very brief, and you'll allow me members to also be brief because of time. We know that generally, and I think this is more the case maybe in the developing world, is that there's a characteristics that has been seen with respect to health-seeking behaviors of people with this part of the world where pharmacists are more or less taken as the first point of call for people seeking healthcare. And the various studies have been done. I personally took a part in a study that was done here by World Bank in 2006, and we were just looking at why is it that a lot of people are keen to go to a pharmacy first before they go to a specialized. Can you hear me all?
Yes, we can.
You can, all right. Yeah, so I know other studies have been done in West Africa, in Nigeria especially, Asia as well, studies done in Bangladesh and Vietnam. Basically, there is a pattern in which a lot of people seeking healthcare, their first point of call is actually the pharmacy. So the pharmacy becomes like a primary healthcare center for a lot of our people. And there are many reasons that have been advanced as to why that is so. Part of the reasons are accessibility, that pharmacies are located closer to the
Dr. Wambui, can you unmute yourself? Yes.
Is that okay now?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so other reasons why people go to pharmacies as opposed to going to a clinical setting is availability of a variety of medicines in pharmacies. Another reason is maybe there's one-on-one knowledge between a pharmacist and a patient. I talked about convenient of opening hours. A lot of some pharmacies opening for many more hours. And of course, people not wanting to line up. So there is a saving of time whenever you seek healthcare directly from a pharmacy. So I'm sure we are all aware that this is a situation that has been obtaining. It is certainly obtaining even during this pandemic, and certainly will continue past pandemic. So just looking at that old scenario that I've painted. So what opportunities are there that have been there, are there during this COVID, and will certainly be there post the COVID pandemic? I think a lot of us, by the time we go to a pharmacy to obtain medicine, we know that by the time that medicine is available to you, it's gone through a chain. There has been research on etiology of the disease for which that drug is meant. There is manufacturing, there is supply chain from the manufacturing to the pharmacy, and then of course there is the availability of medicine to the eventual user, the patient. And therefore, because of time, you'll allow me quickly to just inform members what opportunities do we think exist, whether during this COVID or even past COVID, this pandemic. I think certainly there exists a lot of opportunities within manufacturing sector. And let me just elaborate a bit. Most of us will be aware, especially those of us living within Africa, that when COVID was announced early last year, there was panic. People didn't know where to get masks from. People didn't know where to get sanitizers from. And even those of us who had masks weren't aware whether those masks will actually offer the necessary barrier between us and the virus. The sanitizers, we have not even certified our sanitizers properly. So there was a gap between accessibility of COVID preventive devices and the patient. So one of the things that we probably have heard about is every country now is looking at how do we ensure that should we be hit by a similar pandemic, or should this pandemic persist? How do we ensure that we can actually ensure that our communities have access to these medical commodities that are life-saving? And I think that manufacturing comes in. So there is talk about localizing supply chains. Certainly, there is a lot of opportunities in manufacturing masks. Most of us living in Africa, we've seen companies that have started making masks. We are moving from cloth-based masks to polyethylene masks. So certainly there are lots of opportunities there. And of course, medications, vitamin C supplements that are critical, even curative medicines that are critical for treatment of COVID. Personally, I think that there is a lot of opportunity that will be presented by people who can partner, even if you're partnering with foreign manufacturers and localizing those supply chains within our countries. So other opportunities that I think are obtaining and will continue to obtain post pandemic are in supply. And what do I mean? I mean the way drugs are availed during lockdown. I saw this at a personal level when you could not, all of us could not just walk into a pharmacy and buy medication. I think most of you might have seen this. There was an opportunity that was availed of online sales, and our online platforms are not fully, in my own view, are not fully developed to be customer friendly. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for online delivery of medicines. Financing is also another thing. A lot of gaps still exist. I think, I'm not aware, but I think there was a study that was done to show how many pharmacies are needed within what population. And I saw that within Africa setting, we still have a gap. So there is need for financing of pharmacies within communities, within setups, and especially maybe in the form of settlements, where I think we still have a lot of gaps in accessing quality healthcare. One of the ideas that comes to mind is setting up what we call chain pharmacies. You know, what do I mean by chain pharmacies? I mean, you can have a brand that has a lot of branches. These branches could be geared to specific settlements. So you can have them within informal settlements, and then you have many within cities. You can even have them cross-border, like between a country and another and another and another. So I think there's a lot of gaps there, and I think there are obviously a lot of opportunities that will accrue from something like that. Then I think I still think that we have a gap between how a patient walks into a pharmacy and the way they are served. I have traveled a bit within Africa, and I think I've seen this both within my own country and elsewhere, that when a patient walks into a pharmacy to get critical medicine, more or less because of time, they do not have time to get proper information. There is no time to get their particulars recorded for follow-up. And therefore, I think there is an opportunity that exists between a pharmacy or a provider or a third party who can partner to ensure there's a platform created, even an app, where you can have, besides going to a pharmacy and obtaining medicines, you actually have your information that is picked, and there's proper follow-up. Pharmacists can actually call you. They can monitor how you're taking drugs through an app. They can actually monitor outcomes. You can communicate one-on-one with the patient and see whether this is a patient that is due for referral to a higher treatment center. So I think there still exists a gap around there. And those linkages between a pharmacy and a patient, there's an opportunity for online opportunity there. Tracking how medicines are used is an opportunity. Linking pharmacies to other providers, I think there's an opportunity that is still unexploited in this country. I talked about leasing and the financing, for people who want to go into big wholesale manufacturing and so on and so forth. But let me just touch a bit on what Dr. Julian talked about, and I know Dr. Wanjala is coming to talk about it. This is about alternative medicines. In this part of the world, I think we still have a challenge. We have not yet embraced alternative medicine, even though we think that we are the originators of, alternative medicine. I strongly believe that actually, this being the cradle of mankind, that alternative medicine actually originated in Africa. Yet we have not yet moved to commercialization, and I thank Engineer Ange for what she's doing. I think it is a very proper movement towards that direction, and what Dr. Wanjala is about to talk about. There is need to co-opt alternative cures within formal pharmaceutical sector. And this, to me, of course, presents both challenges and opportunities, because first of all, a lot of our cures are not properly formulated, they are not properly dosed, and even I think storage, a lot of studies have not been done to uncover our traditional cures and make them, commercially viable, for lack of better words. So I feel that there's a lot of opportunities for people who want to go into research, people want to go into formulation, people want to go into packaging of alternative medicines. So if you ask me, in a nutshell, and allow me, for me to stop there, but I hope I've painted a global picture of the pharmacy situation, both pre, now, and post-COVID, and the opportunities that are obtaining. And I want to believe these opportunities are obtained before, they are still obtaining, and they will continue to obtain. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Wambui. I'm going to turn it to Mr. Willis Wanjala, who's going to present about the opportunities in alternative medicine. As we've seen the disease of COVID, unless for those who were actually admitted to the hospitals and were really given the curative measures, most of the people out here that were surviving this disease were really depending on either the little concoctions, the little herbs and gingers and so on to take care of themselves. And actually alternative medicine came into, was actually a big player while trying to prevent this disease. So we are going to call Mr. Willis Wanjala, who will share his experience in herbal medicine and how we can address also the stigma that comes with it and the misinformation, but also who has worked with other renowned people in the field that have actually produced vitamins, preventative measures that have helped people to even work on comorbidities as we have seen in this world. So Mr. Wanjala, you're welcome. Take it away. I think you're still muted. We would like you to unmute yourself. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening from Nairobi. Good morning elsewhere. I wish to recognize our founding president, Paul Jonas Ganda. I hope he's still with us. I want to really appreciate that you actually made a personal call to me one evening when we had a lengthy discussion regarding this practice. I really truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Henrietta, for moderation. My name is Wills Wanjala Wangwe. I am the founder, director of Makini Herbal Clinic, and I've been practicing for slightly over 23 years now. I'm based in Nairobi. Though we have a program where some of our representatives travel to the countryside, to close to 11 to 12 different towns in Kenya, to be able to attend to patients in those areas, patients who may not be able to travel to Nairobi. May I just disconnect maybe my earbuds? Am I clear?
Yes, you were a little bit static, but we can hear you.
Is it better now?
Yes. No. As you go by. I think you may have to close your microphone.
I could also disconnect my earbuds. Is that better?
Yes. That's better.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you, so I'll have to.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, good. Thanks. I can hear you now. So I was mentioning that we set up a system where we can travel to the countryside, to different towns, from Nakuru to Bungoma to Busia, which is close to Uganda, to attend to patients who may not be able to travel all the way to see us. We have a mobile lab facility where we can do basic blood tests or stool or urine on the spot, and then we are able to get the medical history of the patients and administer alternative medicine. So basically, Makini provides alternative medicine and complementary medicine. If you may want to get the basic definitions, some of these things to avoid confusion, complementary or alternative medicine is often referred to as a broad set of healthcare practices that are not part of the country's own tradition and are not integrated into the dominant healthcare system. Other terms sometimes used to describe these healthcare practices include natural medicine, non-conventional medicine, and holistic medicine. Notice that there is a different definition for herbal medicine on its own, which is basically plant-derived material or preparations with therapeutic or other human health benefits, which contain either raw or processed ingredients from one or more plants. In some traditions, material of inorganic or animal origin may also be presented. Then it comes to traditional medicine. This is the sum total of knowledge, skills, and practices based on theories and beliefs and experiences indigenous to different cultures, whether explicable or not, used in the maintenance of health as well as in prevention, diagnosis, improvement, or treatment of physical and mental illnesses. So with time, as we discuss our issues on post-COVID and also opportunities for investment, we are likely to use most of these terms interchangeably for purposes of avoiding to confuse people. But while we do alternative and complementary medicine, which means that we also found it necessary to incorporate and actually import products from out there, from the Philippines, from Indonesia, from India, from China, areas where they have developed serious industries, at times industries that produce pharmaceutical products on one side and then produce and export nutraceuticals or herbal medicine on the other part, you find that they have much more advanced ways of producing, packaging, and marketing these products. And therefore we thought, instead of reinventing the wheel, we may just as well try to learn from such people, work with them, collaborate with them, and we will be able to deliver products, whether they are of medicinal value exclusively or of nutritional value. They will be products that can easily be approved by the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, for example, in Kenya. In Kenya, in terms of production of our own brands, it's become a bit of a challenge because of lack of a solid, appropriate policy on the whole exercise of practicing traditional medicine, including lack of proper curriculum for training, for example. So, for example, you could have some people practicing traditional medicine by virtue of learning the practice from their own forefathers. And some of them may not even have gone to school. When we were trying to set up a draft policy on this sector, we called such people technical indigenous resource persons. They may not be able to explain their knowledge in English or to an elite platform, but they have some knowledge that can be used by virtue of the fact that they know a certain plant has been used for many years, for hundreds of years, for treating a certain problem like asthma, for example. Then now it would be up to those of us probably who have gone to school to pick up the product, protect their knowledge through an institute for intellectual property rights, for example, bring in a legal team that can protect such indigenous knowledge so that this person does not believe they are being misused. And then we provide the product to the Kenya Medical Research Institute for purposes of identifying active ingredients, if there is need, and then particularly indicating the therapeutic value of such extracts. Before then, you can go ahead and discuss the aspects of ownership of this discovery of brand or product or whatever it may be. So we have done complementary, or rather we've been doing complementary and alternative medicine, as well as interacting with indigenous people to identify some of the best products that you can get. We have many products in Kenya, and information from even an institution like Cambridge can confirm to you that we have more than 20 plants in Kenya that are confirmed to be having very, very high potency or efficacy in most of the cancers that we seem to be facing today. But like my brother, Dr. Patrick has indicated, the element of extensive research is a challenge. And this seems to be a deliberate effort, most likely by the pharmaceutical industry, to ensure that what we come up with will not eat too much into their market share. It is fairly dubious because when you look at their resistance to support research proposed by herbalists or people in the alternative medical sector, it's very interesting. I mean, they are totally negative, and yet this sector has been very well developed in places like China, South Korea, Philippines, and so on and so forth. So I really appreciate the proposal given by Engineer Anke on the aspect of IDO setting up a foundation for bringing some sort of a fund, pooling funds together for supporting research in this sector. I have a professor, friend of mine, rather, if I may give you an example, who happens to be Chinese. Now he's back in China, but he has put together different plant extracts that have the capacity to inhibit the HIV virus from anchoring onto the CD4 cell. I invited him to come and give a presentation to Cambridge. I set up a team, including the head of HIV research at Cambridge, and they truly appreciated the product, the performance of the product, the efficacy of the product, the theory about the product. And what we needed to do was simply to demonstrate how the product works by protecting the CD4 cell from anchorage and subsequent destruction of the CD4 cell within a human being. In the beginning, there was a lot of enthusiasm. As time went by, this enthusiasm started waning because the pharmaceutical industry, which is very able to fund, was highly resistant when they realized that this product can actually fish out viruses from hibernating areas within the human body and actually ensure that they do not hibernate, but they also do not have any substrate to work on. That means they cannot also anchor onto the CD4 cell and destroy it. And that in that process, build the immune system, drop the viral load in the patient. And then we end up having a patient who can, at the end, probably within less than 18 months, be able to live without antiretrovirals, for example. Because of that sort of controversy and the conflict between alternative medicine and conventional medicine, it becomes very tricky to get sustainable support in terms of funding for research. But I believe that we have the right infrastructure. Cambridge is one of the best institutions you can ever work with. And I believe we have the right brains. We have professors of pharmacology, virology. As a matter of fact, at Pharmacy and Process Board right now as we speak, the head of research and programs is actually doing his PhD in herbal medicine, which is very encouraging. And this has sort of eased our conversation, our collaboration, our interaction, our partnership with Pharmacy and Process Board when it comes to distribution of complementary and alternative medicine and also nutritional supplements, which at the moment are actually listed free of charge. So I want to believe that just because of time, I can't go on and read through my presentation, but we have products, and given an opportunity, we can provide the technical information that's required to justify and actually put value to some of our phytocompounds that have very, very demonstrable therapeutic properties for the period that I've been in this field, like I've said, over 23 years. I have interacted extensively with very good scholars in the industry, and there is so much that we can put together. Within this particular time, especially as we exit the COVID period, we have great opportunity, especially focusing on immune building, to ensure that instead of having to wait, like my speakers earlier on had indicated, we do not have to wait until we are low in energy in the immune system before we rush to hospital. Most of the time, we're just going to pass time and then pass on. But if we can start early enough to maintain a healthy immune system, we'll be able to withstand even the current attacks by different viruses other than the COVID-19. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wills Wangela, for that presentation. And I would like to kind of piggyback on it and jump onto Miss Michelle Malcolm. Miss Michelle Malcolm, I would like you to come to the floor. And I think my first question to you will be, what are the potential therapeutic strategies to prevent and overcome COVID? And then we will jump on to whether, why would someone think of the therapeutic nutrition as a viable solution to preventative medicine and as a vehicle to generational wealth? So I'm going to invite Ms. Michelle Malcolm to the floor, and I'm going to spotlight her.
Good morning, afternoon, evening to all, wherever you are. Thank you so much to the organizers of this event for asking me to be a part of it. I'm truly humbled and honored to be here. So I feel very comfortable here because for the first time in a long time, I'm a part of a forum where we're all speaking the same language. And it is refreshing to know that there are others around the world who get it, who see what is happening here and are sharing the load, the burden of trying to spread the message. So when it comes to COVID-19 or type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure or lupus or cancer, or listen, I could go on forever, but we don't have all day here. It all boils down to the strength and health of your immune system. Bottom line, and this is what everybody has been saying here today. Your immune system is key. It's the center of this whole discussion. And what amazes me about this is that I dare say that I suspect that there is some degree of, I think people are being disingenuous when it comes to how we're approaching the fight against COVID-19, because common sense will tell you there have been 166 million people around the world who have contracted COVID-19 to date. Of that number, 3.44 million have died. 166 million people have contracted COVID. 3.44 million have died. So what I don't get is, why are we not focusing on what enabled those 162 million people to survive? Why are we not focusing on, why are we not being proactive, in other words, to figure out what is it about one body that is able to fight off COVID and another that is not? We have heard repeatedly that if you have a comorbidity, a non-communicable disease, you will be more at risk of succumbing to COVID. So I would think that the sensible thing to do would be to determine, how do we minimize the non-communicable disease pandemic that is happening, because that's the real pandemic. Studies show that by the year 2030, there will be 44 million deaths worldwide from a non-communicable disease. In that 1 year, 44 million people are expected to die in 1 year from a non-communicable disease. That is the real pandemic. The answer is to get our people healthier. How do we do that? Much of what has been said here today, I am in total agreement with, all of it really. The bottom line is this: our bodies are very intelligent machines that were created by the ultimate manufacturer. And he created our bodies to be able to function and heal themselves when given the right building blocks to do so. What are those building blocks? 90 essential nutrients, and they're called essential because your body does not make them, and so you have to ingest, you have to take them into the body from outside sources, and this is why they're called essential nutrients. Every human being, man, woman, boy, girl, needs 90 essential nutrients just to function, just so that their bodies can function the way the ultimate manufacturer designed them to. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 essential fatty acids. And what happens when our bodies do not get these building blocks is the same thing that would happen to a car that you do not give gasoline to. You can fill up the tank of gas and you can start driving, and then you can decide, I'm tired of paying for gas, I'm not putting any more gasoline in the tank. The car will continue to run, but every time you start that up, you are depleting the gasoline in the tank. And the day will come when you run out of gas. And when you run out of gas, you are going to be broken down on the side of the road. Why? Not that the car is not a good car, you just did not give the car what it needed to function. Our bodies are the same way. Incredible machines that are designed to function using 90 essential nutrients. So what happens when our bodies do not get those nutrients? Every day, when we start the car or walk out of our house or perform any task, we are depleting the resources. And the day will come, if you are not putting those nutrients back into your body, that something is going to break. There are 900 diseases today that are a direct result of a nutritional deficiency. And we have been misled to believe that they are genetic or a normal part of aging or bad luck. When truth be told, they're really just a nutritional deficiency. And if we give our bodies the building blocks and nutrition that they are designed to run on, our bodies are incredibly intelligent healing machines. They will correct themselves. If you are preparing a meal, ladies, let's say you're preparing a meal and you get a small cut on your hand, eventually in a day or so, that thing is going to start to heal itself because our bodies were designed to heal. And if we give our bodies the nutrients that they need, and I'm talking plant-derived nutrition, because not all supplements are created equal. The problem is most of the times when you purchase a supplement over the counter, many of them have been made by big pharma, and many of them have been made from minerals in their raw state. Your body cannot break that down. It's not about what's on the label. It's about what your body can assimilate, what your body can absorb. And so plant-derived nutrition is the way to go because your body can absorb that, okay? So when we give our bodies the nutrition that they need, we see our bodies literally begin to function as they were designed to do. So you're talking complete reversal, not management of, but reversal of non-communicable diseases. And I stress not management of, because I dare say that the medical professionals, they are very, very good at managing illness. They manage illness. They do not cure you. So if you go into the doctor's office with acid reflux, for instance, the first thing they will do is prescribe a pill. The pill lessens the symptoms of the acid reflux, so you feel more comfortable, but it does not address the problem at the root cause. So all you're really doing is managing illness. I often compare it to this. Let's say you go out and you purchase a brand new, beautiful plant, and you bring the plant home, and you don't give it any water, and you don't expose it to any sunlight. Well, eventually the leaves are going to start to turn brown. But instead of giving it water and exposing it to sunlight, you decide to go out and buy a beautiful can of green paint, and you bring that back home and you paint over the brown leaves, and then you smile and say, look at my beautiful plant. Well, you just masked a symptom. The plant is still degenerating under that green paint. And if you don't do something to address the root cause of the problem, that plant will die. This is exactly what is happening in the medical professionals with allopathic reductionist medicine. They are masking symptoms, but they're not getting to the root cause of the problem. And this also applies to COVID-19. If your body is strong enough, if your body is receiving adequate nutrients, if you are giving your body the building blocks it needs to function, there is no man that walks on the face of this earth that is smarter than God. And God designed our bodies to be able to handle COVID-19 or type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure or anything else. Otherwise, how is it that 162 million people were able to survive this thing? And the majority of them before the vaccine came out. I think it is disingenuous to suggest that your only hope is a vaccine when the vaccine needs your immune system in order for it to be effective. Like, what are they missing? And is this intentional? Missing this very obvious point. So to get back, I know I've gone on quite a bit, but to get back to your question, the answer here is to strengthen your body, heal your body, get adequate nutrients into your body, stop doing damage to your body. I want to throw something out here that I want you to think about, food for thought. If you look at the countries that have suffered most from COVID-19 in terms of the morbidity rate, the number of deaths that they have experienced. There is a common denominator that not many people are connecting the dots. A lot of it has to do with diet. Those countries, for the most part, eat a lot of gluten. Gluten damages your gut. Your gut is where 70% of your immune system resides. So if you are constantly doing things to damage your immune system, damage your gut, what do you think is going to happen when a virus comes around? Of course, you're not going to be able to handle that because you have so damaged the very apparatus of your body that is responsible for fighting it off. The answer here is to, number one, nutrify your body. Number two, heal your gut. Number three, stop doing damage, ongoing damage to your body. And if we can, I love the idea that Dr. Julian mentioned about having the community where the whole, thing is about healthy living. And I would love to speak to you, Dr. Julian, after this forum, because I've been trained as a health coach by the Institute of Holistic Health. And because it's not happening at national levels, we have embarked on a study of our clients to see how nutrients are impacting their bodies. We're studying them over a course of 90 days, ensuring that they get adequate nutrients based on their own symptoms. And it is amazing the miraculous things that we are seeing happen as a result of people simply getting the nutrition that their bodies need and stopping the ongoing damage. And I would love to talk to you, Dr. Julian, and others on this call about how we can work together as it relates to that. One more thing I want to say. I've heard a lot about, and if I'm overstepping my boundaries, please forgive me, but I've heard a lot on this call about the challenges that exist in terms of getting products to market or making them palatable so the children, et cetera, would be willing to take them, et cetera. I just want to say that the world today is so interconnected that there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. I believe that there are opportunities for partnerships with existing companies who are already working with entities around the world and working together to package, to formulate, to research, and to deliver these products to the world. The company with which I'm affiliated, Longevity, we carry products from all over the world that were started by individual companies. And those companies have come together and partnered with Longevity. And now Longevity is assisting with packaging, with distribution, et cetera. So I say all that to say there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. There are people out there who are already doing this. And it's just a matter of bringing everybody together to the table and finding a way to work together so that everyone is benefiting at the end of the day and everyone is happy at the end of the day. But to answer your question, I know that was a long, I ran on for quite a bit, but to answer your question, how do we fight this thing? We strengthen the bodies of our people. We strengthen the immune systems of our people. And if we do that, I dare say that the numbers will be even higher as it relates to who survives COVID and who does not. So that, I hope I answered your question adequately and all of that. You're muted, Henrietta.
Yes, you did answer my question. And you also actually answered the next question I would have thrown your way as to the partnership opportunities you would see as someone who's living out of Africa. A lot of people on this call are in Africa. I know you're calling from the Bahamas. I'm in the United States. So we are from all different kinds of places, but we want to see how we can build partnerships between our communities with a mutual understanding of doing business going forward. I would appreciate it, Michelle, if you can also put your information in the chat so that people can be able to know about longevity, and if for those who want to explore the R&D or repackaging their products and so on and so forth, you can contact Michelle. Just to remind you all, we are actually trending on YouTube. We are on Facebook under IDO, and people are also joining in through Zoom. So we are actually, I think, on 3 or 4 platforms in case anyone wants to continue calling people to come and join in, especially for those who were not able to come in as we are having our panelists here. I would like to tune it to our next speaker that's going to maybe give us an insight on how to make things better in terms of moving our products, exploring opportunities out there that can even push us to villages where our people are in Africa, and also try to see how we can get healthcare needs efficiently to our communities in Africa. This person is Miss Yandisa Sokanyile. As I said before, she is the IDO ICT advisor. She's an expert in that field. And I would like to ask you a question, Miss Yandisa. How important is technology in the advancement of the healthcare sector today, especially post-COVID? As we know, technology has taken centerfold in how we are doing business. And that's why we are able to all meet here today on Zoom and share this information to the communities out there. I know I'm going to have a couple of questions for you as we continue this conversation. So Ms. Yandisa, I would like to invite you to the floor, and I'm going to spotlight you so that everyone else can be able to know who you are as you present to us. Welcome, Ms. Yandisa.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. Just want to check if I'm audible. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. All protocol observed. Greetings to everyone. It's been such an insightful afternoon from South Africa. My name is Yandisa Sokanyila. I am the IDO Network ICT head, and also I'm the founder and chief digital officer at Connecta. We're based in South Africa. So our daily basis, our daily job is to work with technology, the advancement of technology. We basically focus on connectivity because we believe that before you talk anything, any e-health or telemetrics, you need to get people connected. And once we have people connected, then we're able to discuss all the different technologies that we offer. So that's the premise of our business, getting people connected so that we can be able to enable all the other value-added services. And I'm very happy to be part of this panel. Having taken everything from the previous panelists, all of that information, there is a role that technology plays. Okay, and we've already seen that happening, especially here in Africa. We can all agree that COVID just highlighted a lot of institutional voids. It has put a lot of pressure in the system, especially in the infrastructure, and actually open eyes to communities and to the government so that they can acknowledge that the healthcare system is in a pretty bad shape, if we may put it that way. So this is where innovation comes in. So just to highlight some of the technologies that have come in the forefront during the pandemic, and of which these are technologies that I foresee that will remain with us as we go forward, because we don't know if there's going to be another pandemic, and we don't know how we're going to come out of this pandemic, So one of the critical things that we've seen and what technology can actually do, it is to give us the speed the speed in which we need to react to a number of things, whether it's the speed of delivery of services, the speed of reaching patients, and the speed of transmitting information. It is also access to a number of people at a very same time. It's the instant access that we can be able to get. Also, just lowering the costs. So that's very important as well, because with the pandemic, governments had to put a lot of money. A lot of governments had to borrow money to actually be able to deal with the pandemic. So technology can actually decrease the cost of providing the healthcare solutions. One, I want to make just examples of solutions that are available on the market that perhaps we can actually start looking at. One is actually going into telemedics. We find that Africa, actually, the fact is Africa is mainly rural. We've got a lot of communities that are still in rural areas that have they lack internet access, they lack electricity. So which is the building blocks of technology. And these are the communities probably that don't even have transport infrastructure or even the bricks and mortar hospitals in their areas. We need to be able to reach to those customers. And also COVID stops people from gathering in the different places. So people are skeptical of even going to the clinics because they don't know if they're gonna go for a certain procedure or a checkup and then come back with COVID. So using the technology that's available now, that is what has been able to assist a lot of doctors, where you can be able to do your consultation with your patients via an app. So a doctor will have an app where they manage all the consultations before a person even comes to the hospital or to your clinic or rooms. You are able to pre-diagnose or give them some information on the video consultation. So obviously there's information that you need to request from the patient so that the doctor can be able to sort of give a diagnosis of some sort. And what we've seen, especially in the rural communities, that because of the roads are so bad and people cannot get access, and sometimes when a patient doesn't even need to go into the doctor's office, so that saves them time. It saves the doctors time as well, and also the cost of traveling, and also the cost of having people in the facility that could actually lead to COVID exposure as well. So there's also a number of other technologies, especially when it comes to IoT, which is the Internet of Things. We look at the smartphones. The smartphones is used mainly by insurance companies and medical aids because they're trying to avoid the payouts. So they will rather go into the preventative measures, which is what we've been talking about the whole afternoon. So with technology, how do you do preventative measures? By having this phone, or you can, a smart watch, or you can even have your phone and use it as a tracker that actually tracks your movement. So you are able to count your steps and see that this is my health plan. On a daily basis, I need to do a 5,000, 10,000 steps a day to reach my target, because this is my goal weight based on my weight or BMI. This is where I need to be. And you're able to track the food that you're eating. So we've already heard that what you eat is what actually fuels your body. You're able to put all of that, even the glasses of water. You can even have a reminder when you need to have your next glass of water. So these are preventative measures that are being used, especially by insurance companies, to make sure, or medical aids, to make sure that the people do not really get sick, so that they don't have to pay out. So you just limit that, as it's very costly. Applications like that are also available on your phone, whether you're Samsung. Google has got Google Health. You can actually track. You can even check your stress levels by just using your biometrics. You can be able to tell you how stressed you are. You can check your heart rate and all the important details that you need to know about your health. So all of these applications and systems are already available. It's just for us to send out the knowledge to people to know how to use them. The problem is that we have a lot of people with smartphones. If we have people who've got about 2 phones, but the use of that smartphone, that's another education that we need to actually embark on, using the features on the smartphones, because those phones already come with those features, but people just tend to use them just for emails or for making a call or just social media. So you can use technology just to prevent some things. Once you get into the routine of understanding that I need to be this active, even if you're moving around the house, you're doing chores and all of that, that counts, and it motivates you when you reach your targets on a daily basis. And also what the medical aids will do is to actually give you an incentive or give you points or miles or whatever that they'll give you, so that they keep on encouraging you to get to the levels. And it is something which is really good for you. So we call that also just the lifestyle tracking, which is very important. And from the talks of today, you hear that lifestyle plays a very critical role, from how active you are, your movement, the food that you eat as well. So those are just technologies that we can actually make use of now that are available. And also information is another one. With what we've heard, there is so much unlearning that we need to do, because we all believe that the traditional medicine is the medicine. But from what I've heard today is that the alternative medicine is actually what's going to cure us. You know, it's the lifestyle that we need to be adopting, because the traditional medicine essentially is a management system. How do you put a person on a program for the rest of their life? How do you take medication for the rest of their life? Obviously, that's like a management system. So we need to start teaching, especially people in the deep rural communities, and making them aware that you have the land in front of you. You can actually grow vegetables, you know, organic vegetables that you can eat, and those can heal you instead of relying on antibiotics or on flu medication. And this is something that we've seen with COVID as well, with the concoctions. Everyone has got a concoction. I've been drinking mine today, and I'm so used to it, you know, and I haven't had cough or anything like that. So there is so much that we still need to share. Platforms like WhatsApp, your YouTubes, is platforms that we should be using, all those digital platforms, just to disseminate that information that tells our people how you can actually go into the preventative measures than going getting to hospital. Or maybe we need to highlight the cost of getting sick, because people say healthy food is very expensive. But if you compare that to you being in hospital, the time you take out of work is even massive. And also one thing that we can look at in terms of bringing now the government and making this practical, there's so much opportunity, especially now in Africa, of how we can actually develop our own solutions and our own system to help our own government. And anything that has to do with health. I know previously people say it's a government issue. It can't be just a government issue. It's a private partnership. We need all the NGOs. We need the knowledge from the private sector. We need funding. We need research, and everybody to come together. So if we're able to build that ecosystem, we can be able to develop platforms and applications that can be able to help our own African healthcare system. One, if you look at just a practical example, if in a certain area you've got a number of doctors that are within that area, then we can be able to build a platform that can service those doctors. They can be in one platform, integrated in that platform, where you can be able, if the doctor so-and-so is not available, then you can be able to refer the patient to another doctor because they're all on the same platform. You can be able to share the information of the patient with another doctor to say, this is where I left off. I'm not going to be available, treat and look at these symptoms, So it's easy access so that people don't go to this doctor and then when they go, they have to go to another one, start filling in the details, and the other one does the diagnosis or the check-up without the previous doctor's information. And also patients don't really tell the doctors what the other ones say. They always say, let me go to the other one, but you're just repeating the same process. And this is what keeps on happening. They give you the same medication. It will be a painkiller in a different color, But if that information is integrated to know that in a city, there is this application that you need to use if you want to access a healthcare system. And this can be expanded to regions or just local communities or integrated doctors under one network. But what I'm trying to say is that the technology is available that can give access, that can actually lower the cost and actually fast speed the delivery of services to the communities. Yeah, that's basically what I can say for now. I can take any other questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Yandisa. I love this. Just going through what you are presenting to us and also piggybacking on to what the other presenters said, really we have to look at our bodies. And as Michelle said, she came back to the grassroots to encourage most of us to do that, to make sure that we are taking care of our bodies to prevent these diseases onto hitting us going forward. Preventative medicine is definitely taking over. I see it here in the US, even through our jobs. When you're trying to get health insurance, if you're a smoker, you're put into another chain because they are trying to prevent you to get away from that and make you more healthy so that they don't have to pay so much on healthcare on you as an entity. Ms. Yandisa, what are the investment and business opportunities you see, especially in Africa, when it comes to the healthcare sector, in terms of software, digital health, connectivity? Because you know how Africa is. When we are talking of Africa, we are not talking of the city of Johannesburg. We are talking about those places where we came from, deep down in the villages. How can we push to use technology that can actually reach to my grandmother who has to travel 10 kilometers from the village, come and visit the physician, go to the pharmacist, be able to see any other specialists, and then get to on a bus back to the villages? How can we explore those opportunities? What are the investment opportunities that some of us here in the diaspora can look at and say, this is what I can put my money on? How can I work with IDO to make it happen?
Yes, this is the right time. I don't see any other better time for investors to actually put money in the healthcare system. And it's going to take us as Africans, you know, in the diaspora to actually start believing in our own selves and investing. We heard that, you know, the Western community will push their traditional medicine. And as Africans, these are things that we grew up with. Our forefathers grew up with these medicines that we are using that now we call alternative. But for an African, this is what we grew up with. We have lost a lot of that information. Firstly, let's go back to that information, teaching people about these medicines, whether that is in forms of portals, in forms of video, in messaging, but let's just re-establish ourselves. Let's have a digital strategy for African investment strategy for Africa, because I think we are in a very good position to grow. We have learned from COVID. You know, we are still standing, so that says something. And now it's time that we come back. Everybody, an African, come back, maybe form through AIBC. That could be a platform there where we look at the investment, especially from Africans, so that we can develop our own solutions. We heard that there's not much funding on the R&D. This is where we should be focusing on, because if we have the research that is being done, we have the caliber of doctors that we have on this platform, we have the business strategists, we've got the marketers, we've got the technology. What is stopping us from creating our own e-health platforms to begin with? Because we already have the whole ecosystem in this call, just this very same call. We have the whole entire system. You know, it is all for us to just come together and be integrated and work to build the whole value chain or the whole ecosystem. And just to tell you that there has been a rise in a number of e-health startups within Africa. I think about 180 startups that are active in Africa that were created just last year focusing on e-health, which means there is a huge opportunity. And there has been over $90 million that has been raised in 2020 just for e-health startups alone. So that means there's a huge potential for growth. Yeah, but instead of this money coming from the West or the other countries, where we are just creating value for people sitting somewhere in their own countries, it is us Africans who needs to start chipping in our own pockets, whether in a form of crowdfunding, whether in a form of CSR funds, or just organizations lobbying, so that we can have ownership of the technology that comes from Africa. Because we've got the minds, we've got the tools, we've got the indigenous knowledge, we've got the understanding of the people. You know, it's different to be an African. You know, when you go, and I go home in the rural Eastern Cape there in Mount Aleph, you know, I know how to engage with the people. I know how to, the language to speak, and you know, that the protocol that is there. So we already understand our market. So we just need to look at it and see how we can build on these opportunities. One, I've spoken about the access of doctors, combining the doctors in regions. You know, that could be an African platform that works with the different regions. It could be an Uber of e-health, you know, but we don't want an American company that's going to come. You know, it's good to have the partnerships, but let Africans be equity owners of this. Let communities be part of this, of ownership of these platforms, so that we can see the growth that we are talking about. We're getting so much investments coming into the continent, and that is investment that comes from the different countries, and we own nothing. And we keep on saying and complaining about the very same thing, but the action is not there. I think it's time with you know, forums like this, where we can say, after this forum, this is what we have achieved. This is what we are starting to work on, and we can show that by next year we you know, we're already talking about a platform that we have, or we are talking about a medicine or a concoction that we've globalized or that we've put up in the market. So I want to say there is so much opportunity from analytics, just collecting the data. You know, there is so much of that, even the connectivity itself. There's still a great opportunity where we can put our heads together and see how we raise this money, so that we can have a digital health system for Africa by Africans. Thank you
so much, Yandisa. That's awesome. That's really awesome. And as Yandisa says, really, we have the human capital to do these things. Look at us here today during this presentation. As I look at this synergy, if we decide to say we are going into a healthcare business in a place in Africa, we really have Yandisa who will connect all of us. We have the pharmaceutical representation here that will be able to give us the curative medicine. We have the preventative experts that will also bring in their expertise on how we can prevent the diseases. And if we have those that are really sick, I'm sure we'll be able to put up entities to take care of our people back home. Hence, we would have achieved IDO's objective, and that is to take care of the communities first. As we are about to go to a close, I see Miss Rose Lily Atiang has her hand up, but I would like to bring Linda back. I don't know if Linda, you're back on. I see your video is off, but I would like to pose a question to her that really has to do with us as people in the diaspora unlearning the mistakes, the negatives that have happened to us. Because when it comes to any kind of investment, any kind of projects, there is that lack of trust sometimes that we have. And I like what Linda said yesterday. We have to unlearn that. As a diaspora leader, I always get folks that come to me and propose going back home to their homelands and put up structures, hospitals, schools, clinics, and so on and so forth. As we look into trying to invest in healthcare, and we know that, yes, we have to deal with the big governments back home, how can we do it right as diaspora? What would you really give us as advice as we look towards that journey as diaspora, Linda? Do you see the private sector becoming the future champions of universal health care back home, as it has been done in the Western world?
Thank you very much, Henrietta. The simple answer to that question is yes. But now let's just get into the specifics of that yes. The diaspora community is extremely important in this whole entire conversation. And even our very own governments actually understand the importance of the diaspora community because of the sheer amount of money that you pump back into your home economies. And you put more money into these economies, and yet when it comes to striking deals, government is not opening the door or laying out the red carpet for you in the very same way that they'll do a Chinese businessman or an American who is coming to do a couple of things here. And so there are a couple of strategies that the diaspora community can actually think about. One of them is invest in businesses that already exist. Right? There are businesses that are struggling to grow and they need a vast number of resources, money being one of them, but knowledge being the other resource, but also networks is something that they're not actually able to exploit. So coming and investing, if you invest in an existing business, then you have skipped a certain hurdle already because it already has the licenses, it has the permits, it has dealt with the government, and so you don't have to worry. The mandate now is for people like me on the ground to find those businesses that are ready to partner with you and to come and do the kind of business. But I think also one thing you also have to understand now when we move into now trying to create new businesses is you must understand that government is the biggest business in any economy. And as long as you're coming to do and invest and you're going to compete with them, they are going to have to size you up against, are you coming into my turf? Are you measuring? Are you trying to steal my competition? Are you trying to steal my resources? There's always that reality that you must maintain at the back of your minds. But I do believe, Yandisa touched on the importance of ecosystems. Right now, it's really about finding the structures and the systems in place that can guide you in these investment strategies that you have going forward. That's why AIBC has actually been established. We are here to be able to find people in the diaspora and guide them and hold their hand and say, okay, fine, this is how you're going to channel your money. This is what you're going to invest in. This is how the feasibility. That way, you have an organization behind you and a number of people behind you whom you can actually hold accountable. But we also have to look at how money flows. Because part of the biggest challenge that I think diasporans make, the biggest mistake they make is, I'm going to send $5,000, I'm going to send $1,000 home to do this, I'm going to send $10,000 home to do this. How do you channel that money? If you trim it in that particular manageable size that you actually have and give it to somebody, it's very easy for somebody to actually mismanage that money. But Henrietta, I think I touched on this idea and we have to explore it further. We can set up investment vehicles that work for us, that allow everybody to channel their money, because what tends to happen is you find there's this person investing in a hospital, there's this person investing in a clinic, there's this person investing in this particular area. You're all kind of doing different versions of the same thing. And so there is power in the connection, in the collective, and there's power in the community and building that ecosystem. So developing those ecosystems and building the investment vehicles, because we know investment vehicles are legal persons. And if something happens, your money is mismanaged, there is a way of recourse. And given the way that the world works is, and if you're worried about, because part of the concern is the legal systems, let's say, for example, in Uganda, it would take so long if we were to go through disputes. Mauritius is a place that allows you to channel your money and their systems. And as diasporans, you have that advantage, because I, as a Ugandan, I can't channel my investment via Mauritius. But you, as a diasporan, through an investment vehicle, you can channel your money through those investment haven countries that even make you tax efficient, in that regard. But there are organizations that are actually set up to do this kind of thing and manage your money. So there's a whole investment strategy that I want the AIBC to work with organizations like UNA and come up with and say, okay, fine, how do we make the capital flow? How do we make the resources flow? How do we make the human capital, the knowledge, because that in itself, we never count it as an inflow, but that is something that we actually need on the ground to be able to do these kinds of things. So the final thing that I'll actually say, in terms of what can we also do is we have to build bankable businesses. We've spent the last hour and a half of, about 2 hours talking about, preventative health. And for us, that's where we're trying to focus the discussion in the health sector. Is there a business we can create out of this? Because at the end of the day, we want to create a bankable business. We don't want you to invest in an idea, right? Yes, it's good to invest in an idea, but ideas need to be tested, they need to be piloted, but we have different things that are already working. How do we bring them together onto one platform so that you have a bankable business, so that you're able to put your money in as well and, get your money out at the end of the day? So that's what I'd actually say.
Thank you so much, Linda. And that is also what my goal is. I have 2 hands up. I don't know whether Miss Rose Lily Atiang is there.
You have 3 and Michelle.
Oh, and also Michelle. Okay. Is Miss Rose Lily Atiang there? I think that was her first hand that went up.
Yeah. Thank you, Linda, and the chair and His Excellency Paul and Uganda and Grace, plus many others who are in the forum. Well, I am Rose Lily from Uganda and also a midwife. I had the opportunity to work with as health promotion and education officer in the rural areas of Uganda, area of Karamoja. I wanted just to make mention one of the structures, which I would say grassroots structures, like the used in Uganda, which would be a very good, in my own knowledge, would be a very good way of channeling what investment. For example, the village health team, which is being used in Uganda. It's a structure at the basic level, which is at the grassroots level. And in that structure, we used it in the year like 2011, and even up to now, it is still being used. These are the local people. Every community, say a village of 300 people, they're about 5 to 8 village health team. And these people have the data for the whole village, say one village. And we used to go out there, train them how to take blood pressure, how to take the mid-upper arm circumferences of children under 5. And it was a very successful way of getting community data, more especially if we are interested in investing in a preventative health, which is the key if we want really our communities to improve. Then looking at the preventive health, which is a greater part of health, then I think that model, if others could have a look at it, study it, it is a very good model. It's called the village health team being used in Uganda. It is at the lowest grassroots level. We're using it to get data on malnutrition for under 5s, even for looking at other things, even like referring. They help identify problems in the community and then refer. This is like a pregnant woman who is in labor or with the complications. They help through that system to refer them to health center too. So that is a model. I don't know in other countries if they have been using it. I know it was used also in Ethiopia. In Uganda, it's called the village health team. So that nature of it, if we wanted really, it is easy. It's a very easy model because World Food Program was using it, UNICEF was using it, and the concern worldwide. You just go to the district heads and then handle it at that level. And then what we were using, we are not even using a lot of resources, but just training them, giving them the skills and the tools. and then you see your output. Thank you. That is what I wanted to mention about the preventive ways of improving our health system.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rose Lilia Tiang. We appreciate your input. And I think Dr. Patrick Wambui says he has to leave for another meeting. The next person that has their hand up was Mr. Stephen Opitam. Mr. Stephen, are you there?
Yes, please. My name is Stephen Opeto. I happen to be a member of IDO International Business Community. Mine is just a comment. I've listened to all the presenters. First of all, I would like to thank all of them for the wonderful presentation. All of them have talked about the value chain and linkages. But me as a farmer, I think the missing link which we need to look at, and there is a great business opportunity, is linking agriculture for health. Dr. Wanjala talked about importing some ingredients from India, from Philippines, and those ingredients grown here in Uganda or in Africa. I know, for example, Kemre in Kenya, they have done extensive research on a particular herb called Caricedulis, but it has remained at research level. Where is the linkage of that to a farmer so that we get outgrowers to grow that for the manufacturing industry? I was with Dr. Engineer Anke for just about one hour. And she could talk about all the herbal plants in my place. But what are we doing to commercialize that? Michelle talked about connecting the diet. How do you connect the diet without the farmer? Yeah, these are also talked about encouraging the rural community to grow. Most of the infrastructure is taken to the rural community. But can we have that infrastructure to bring from them to the industry here? I think that is the missing link. I talked to a Filipino, I had a chance with him just last weekend. Says, why are you doing the same thing everybody is doing? The herbal industry is growing in billions of dollars. But everybody is going poultry, going where? Why is this industry virgin? India is doing it to Europe, but Africa is doing nothing. There are very few countries in Africa doing that. So as we do this conversation, are we talking about opportunities in agriculture for medicine? That is my contribution.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen, and we appreciate your contributions, because the good thing is Ms. Linda has just started these forums, and we are going to be having actually more forums going ahead. So maybe that will be something that can be discussed in the upcoming forums. The next person that has their hand up is Ms. Michelle Malcolm, one of our panelists.
Thank you. That last contribution, right on point, because a major part of the problem that we have as it relates to non-communicable diseases is that, especially here in the Western world, is that so many of the foods that we are eating are genetically modified. And your body does not know what to do with genetically modified foods. So the foods that we are getting today do not have the nutritional value of, say, the foods of my grandparents. And this is another reason why we are so much sicker than they would have been. And so the point about farming, that is so very true, very, very important aspect of this, because it has to be, I think there needs to be a move towards organic farming. There's a huge need for that worldwide now, but that is not what I wanted to talk about. Rose Lily said something that I thought, I was thinking of making a contribution when she brought it up, even though her angle was a bit different from what I wanted to say. But we've been talking a lot on this call about investing in, big business. But I think there is a huge opportunity for empowering our communities through at the grassroots level, where we empower people within the communities to be educated, to become health coaches, to understand that this is why you have this particular condition. This is the nutrition that your body needs to fix that condition. And this also ties in with Yandisa's presentation, because there are opportunities now available where people can, I became a certified health coach studying, completing a course that was all online. I didn't have to attend the university. I studied online at my leisure in my home and received a certification as a health coach. And all of my customers right now, I have customers all over the world, clients all over the world. I do everything through the internet, through virtual consultations. So, but I think it is very, very important for us to understand that we have an opportunity to empower persons within the community at the grassroots level to become educated about nutrition, become educated about how to help persons overcome certain conditions. And with the right network, and again, there's no need to reinvent the wheel because it already exists, but with the right network, you're now creating not just an opportunity of better health, but an opportunity of creating entrepreneurs at the grassroots level. I think this is something that we really need to consider, because not everybody has the finances to become, to own a big business. But if you could start your own business for $30, you know, if you could become a health coach for $10 a month, it's a game changer. It empowers people to become educated and be able to impact their communities. And I think when we were doing the pre-call for this forum today, I think it was Linda who mentioned that she has taken things because people within her community, her family recommended it. There has been such a level of distrust of the what's the word I'm looking for, of the system of the, you know, that people will trust more quickly something that is recommended to them by someone that they know and love than they do a recommendation from a doctor, because there's this lack of trust now. And so there's an opportunity for us to tap into that, and get people to become health coaches for their communities and get their communities involved and create entrepreneurs. And I think it could be a game changer, not just in terms of health, but in terms of finances and wealth as well. So that's what I wanted to say.
Okay. Thank you very much, Michelle. And that's why we are here, to explore all these opportunities that are coming by. The next person that we have with their hand up is Francis K.N. Dungu. Can you please come in? You can unmute yourself.
Thank you very much for the organizers of this great conference. To get to the point, I wanted to know whether IDO as a network has got a strategy or has got a plan to lobby with the indigenous governments of wherever we are coming from, because to be able to design up or work in partnership with those governments to establish a program of doing some of this preventative work, especially when it comes to COVID-19. I mean, the ideas which have come out of these discussions are actually very good and mind-blowing, to understand that some of the solutions, actually, we have it in our own communities. We don't have to go to these expensive hospitals or wherever. They are within our family home. And even this network on its own, I can see different professionals from different backgrounds, bankers, doctors, lawyers, teachers, and everything. IDO in itself, and using different cultural leaders itself, has got a wealth of professionals, brains being put together. For me, I feel like IDO has got a very powerful platform. And I think to piggyback on that one, it can be a very strong, powerful vehicle to lobby with current governments, because this needs also to be taken up, apart from driving it on your own, starting up and sensitizing the community on your own. I was quite impressed with the other community, with the other lady talked about, whereby they go into the community, sensitize that particular village. But this is a national issue. If I talk about Uganda itself, we've got 45 million people. Most of them, they are in rural areas. Most of them, they don't have money for a data, IT, and all that kind of stuff, but they've got schools, and this needs to be a government-led thing, and whereby we do a partnership. And I know very well there is a private public partnership act in Uganda, whereby we, as an IDO, diaspora, whatever network, we can work with the government to run this whole program while wherever it is, because I think these are things that we, like the COVID situation, we have to be part of the solution. We can't just wait for the government to come up with this program. With what has been discussed here already, I can see the solutions, but is IDO, going back to my question, I challenge you, Your Excellency, Mr. Paul and Grace, who are the lead of IDO, I challenge you to take it further, to lobby and say, we are ready to do this. We are ready to work. We've got the people behind it. We've got this wealth of organization and these people, but can we introduce this from the grassroots to the schools itself, whereby diet, exercise, everything is embedded from that, and such that we can tackle this problem, other than waiting for vaccines or being so scared even to go outside. COVID is going to stay here for a long time. We need to start now. So Your Excellency, Mr. Paul, I'm just waiting whether this is something which you would really take on board. For us, we are ready to work and see how this one can go ahead. But thank you so much for organizing this.
Thank you so much, Francis. And that is a question that I'll either pose to His Excellency, Mr. Paul Iganda, or it will be Ms. Linda that will have the answer to that.
I think I'll just come with a very quick answer. I think we see government as a long-term partner and a partner with whom you can actually scale with. We have a strategy for working with governments in the sense that we want them to excel in what they do, which is in policy and creating the enabling environment as well. So to answer your question, yes, we have a plan, but it's for them to come in at specific points, because there is things that we already can do and we can move without necessarily having to, because they do slow you down. That's the problem with the challenge with government. They do slow you down, and then it depends, again, like I said, government is a business. So if they feel like you're encroaching on their area or you're creating some form of competition, they will slow you down. So we have to be extremely purposeful in terms of how we bring the governments on board. But in everything that we do, we recognize that they are a key stakeholder. And when it comes to scaling some of the solutions, so if we think about what Rose said earlier as an example, we can pilot certain things at a lower level. And then when we have the model and it actually works and it has delivered results, then you come in and then you lobby the government and they take it on, they take it from us, It's another way of us creating economic benefit in terms of giving them projects that they can actually take on and scale up and make better as well. So the simple answer to your question, yes. And there's a strategy in development to make it very purposeful so that we can skip all the hoops and the hurdles, the corruption and the time wastage as well.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Linda. I think we are going to take this as our last hand. I know it's getting late in the Africa continent, those in New Zealand. I know some of us are just waking up and getting ready here in the Americas, but we have Queen International with her hand up. Can you please come out and talk to us, Queen International? I see the video is off.
Yes, greetings everybody from Johannesburg, South Africa. My names are Queen International in brackets, but I'm a cultural ambassador of SADC. I'm resident in South Africa, and I'm a veterinarian by what? By profession, a retired one. I'm going to bring in my aspect as a vet. The topic today was post-COVID healthcare investments opportunities in Africa. As far as the conversations went, I was so glad that everything was covered except my field, which is veterinary public health and agricultural products. So how am I going to contribute towards this? 2 minutes. One, Remember, people are getting sick, everything because of what? Food safety. We are not looking after our foods. The way we are growing them, the way we are harvesting them, transporting them, all sorts of things. Nobody is taking care of that. So in the future, when you have health things, please include veterinary public health. It doesn't have to be me talking. We have our own experts. So here, what I'm suggesting, as the lady already said that we have got this grassroots things level at there at the what. But before we go there, we must work with the government. I know government has got, African governments have got their what? Bureaus of standards, their laboratories, their quality assurances, their laboratories, everything they have. But I'm sure some investors, other than just getting money, other than wanting money, there are those people who are community what? Driven, that they want what? Safe food for the communities, because most of these people are becoming sick because of food. The other day, there was somebody bragging, us Africans, we don't respect animals. Somebody actually, what they did, they harvested fish, threw them on the dirty grass, then somebody's going to pick it up, sell it to you. So really, we must sort of like organize ourselves that each town, each city, IDO must have what we call maybe a food agency or food safety agency, in that at the same time, people who want to invest or people who have got good hearts, we sort of like have, what do we call them? Sort of bureaus, what in each town, each district, in that people are monitored. We have some people who are dedicated. They go homes, they go to farms, they go to see that things are handled properly. To go along with this, there must be sort of like accredited laboratories. Like here in South Africa, we have government laboratories, but also we have got other laboratories accredited by government, where you can take your foods and everything to make sure they are within what accepted whatever. And whatever comes in the country, we have dedicated people who see that everything has got labels. Everything has got expiry dates. Everything has got, but here in Uganda, Africa, to me it may concern. Yeah, people are cooking in caveras, people are doing anything. So what we want, as the other lady said, in the village level or this level, let us have our own, sponsored by somebody, I don't know who, those investors who don't want money, but they want to see that we are healthy in Africa, to help us to do that. And for example, they can sort of like, we have in that district, in that village, we have a tuk-tuk, that Indian type of car. The person is allocated to go to butchery, because you know what happens in Uganda? They spray with insecticides for the flies. That must stop. In all those things, so we need sort of like vigilance, inspector and everything. Then we shall move a level in our health. All you can talk is about health, but you're not going to talk about the food. You're not going to talk about veterinary public health. Somewhere, somehow, you're going to look for us. It's the missing link, and it's us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Agnes. I hadn't even recognized it was her because I saw the name Queen International and couldn't put that together. But thank you so much for that. We have Maman Agnes's hand up. Can you please come and present your question? I'm wondering whether it was the same. Okay. I would like to close out and thank each and every person that was able to be here with us today, our audience, but would like to extremely be grateful to the panelists. Thank you so much, Ingnia Enke. I think she's already gone. Thank you so much, Dr. Patrick Wambua. I think he's also gone. Thank you so much, Ms. Yandi Sasso Kanyile. Thank you so much, Mr. Willis Wangela. Thank you so much, Madam Michelle Malcolm. And extremely grateful to Madam Linda Savarera, who put this all together. I work at the pleasure of the IABC Fora, and I really am grateful and impressed at what they are doing. As we close out this forum, I'm going to be handing it over to Linda to close it out, and then she'll be inviting Her Highness, Mrs. Grace Engada, to come and talk to us. But let us look at what was discussed. Let's open up our minds. Let's feel that we can actually get some bankable projects realized after this forum. For all those that presented their projects, I would like you to please share your contacts in the chat so that people can be able to contact you after this forum. And for those that also would like to contact me, I'll be sharing my contacts as well. Again, I'm Henrietta Wamala. I reside in the USA. I'm the Ugandan North American Association President and also Vice President of IDO USA. I serve at the pleasure of His Excellency Paul Nganda, who invited me to this wonderful organization, and Mr. Nick Kalanzi, that also is my president in IDO USA. Thank you so much for having me today. And I yield back to Linda and wish you all a good day.
Okay, mine at this particular point is just to say a vote of thanks to every single one of you for attending this this forum, the first of many, where we do a deep dive into particular areas, particular topics. This time it was health. Next, I think the next session is going to be around agriculture and food. So Ms. Queen International, please be sure to volunteer your presence to speak on that particular day. But however, in terms of why we call this, in addition to the awareness we want to raise, the knowledge we want to exchange, the information we want to generate, I think it's the action that we want to drive. And so I would like to welcome people. This is now a call to action, because what we want to do is to set out a very neat, health-focused working group that can look, because there are quite a number of ideas. If I could just show you, like my book, there are quite a number of ideas that have come up out of this session. But I want us to see how we can expound them and build a vision, in terms of healthcare and systems, and how can we now start to set the wheels in motion and put action to the words that we are actually saying, so that we can now start to, identify what are the solutions, but what are the opportunities that address those solutions as well. So I would like, charity begins at home. And so as a matter of exception, if I'll start with a panel of people who have been here to form the focus of that working group, where we can sort of like do a more intimate discussion into terms of models, ideas, what can we do, short-term goals, what is the low-hanging fruit, what is the long-term goal, and see how we bring this vision to life and make this more than just the conversation we have had here today. So once again, thank you very much for your patience, for your attendance. And I would like to welcome Her Highness, Grace Eganda, to come and give the closing remarks before we leave.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Linda. Ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the very end of our very, very first health forum. We have been enlightened about health and investment opportunities available to all of us in Mother Africa and beyond. These are really essential life-saving opportunities. But most prominently, I think what has stood out most is that the gospel of prevention has been faithfully preached and shared. First of all, allow me to recognize and honor our distinguished leaders present with us here today. All protocols are respectfully observed. And on behalf of the entire IDO network, I would like to thank the incredible team of presenters who have so beautifully presented today. I believe we shall all agree that the discussions were very informative. They have very generously shared their knowledge, and we've got so many resources at our hands, and we have been highly enlightened. We really do appreciate you. And also so much appreciation actually goes to the IDO business and investment team who have brought us up here together. We thank you for choosing, to lead us on this, and we appreciate everyone who decided to come together and be part of this forum. It is because when we come together, that's when we can grow together, making sure that no one or no sector is left behind. On reflection, today we have been reminded of the opportunities that are available to all of us again. And these are opportunities to make our communities and our world a healthier and a wealthier and a safer place. We are encouraged to go back to basics, setting ourselves well-being goals and believing that we can achieve these, because we can achieve these. I think, as I had said before, what has stood out most through this forum has been the gospel of prevention, prevention, prevention that has been shared so beautifully. And in the moving times, Yandisa has also brought out the beauty of technology as a tool that is going to help us in moving forward. She has clearly highlighted this. We have been reminded about nutrition by most of our speakers here. Dr. Dundu mentioned it, Michelle Malcolm mentioned it, and everyone has re-emphasized it. Nature, and Queen International brought it from another perspective, as well as Mr. Opeitum, you know, agriculture, nature, rest. You know, rest is something that we most times neglect. Even God rested on the seventh day. Who are you who will go on nonstop? So those are the things that sometimes we forget, but I am pleased that all our presenters have today taken us back to the basics. So, and let us not forget, I think mental health has also been touched on. The World Health Organization has countless times said that there is no health without mental health. So, and I believe, as they have said, that a healthy mind can only reside in a healthy body, and a healthy body can only result into a healthy mind. So let us keep our mental health, especially in these COVID times, in the right place along the spectrum. We do realize that it is important to invest in what will not just materially make us better, but what will make us happy. I believe that health investment is the right way to go in this season. So let us celebrate wealth, and let us invest not just in riches, but in wealth. You know why? Because riches in themselves are short-term, but wealth is generational. There's a difference between the two. So may we today choose to invest in ourselves. May we choose to invest in wealth, because true wealth is found in health. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Back to Linda.
Okay, so thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Her Highness, Grace Ganda. Can I just ask one final favor? If you can all just turn on your cameras, just for a group photo. We want to remember this moment, remember this day, remember your faces after 2 hours. And then after that, we will officially close the event. So I'll just give it just 1 minute for people to turn on their cameras, please. And
okay,
yeah. Yandis, are we good? Can you take the group shot? All right.
There's more.
Okay. There's more. Who'll let me know when they are done so that I can release everybody. For those who have to start their day, they need to go start their day. And okay. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for your time. I think what you can expect from us at the AIBC is the information that has been discussed. We will compile it into some form of maybe a 1-2 page document for you to actually take away. But I think our focus is really setting up that that group that we can work with, who can define the strategy for this sector going forward, and how we can then put the wheels into motion and turn the plan into action so that we can realize our vision for ourselves, for our communities, but for the greater good of this world. Thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, twin sister. Bye.
Bye-bye,
Bye, my
everybody.
sister.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Michelle. I will contact you.
Okay. Bye, Reverend Dr. Sister.
Bye, my twin sister. It was wonderful. Oh, very rich.
Holding communities.
It is to promote and celebrate the diverse customs and traditions that constitute the African cultural heritage.
AIDO Network International.
Bye,
Culture for Unity, Development and Social Change. AIDO was founded to enable people to stay in touch with their culture regardless of location, to develop activities that highlight and share best practices, encourage intercultural relations and exchanges, build capacity and promote sustainable development in our communities. Always remember, a people without knowledge of their history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots by Marcus Garvey. To realize this agenda, AIDO is developing a program to capture, promote, and preserve the African traditional lifestyles. Culture is a way of life of a people. This includes beliefs, ceremonies, medicine, education, food, recreation, fashion, language, morals, and values, just to mention a few. These experiences that define them are passed on through generations.
And thank you all for your commitment to making a difference in our world. Our goal is to influence and realize progressive change across our communities. Today, we tell one of those stories.
This program seeks to promote and celebrate the diverse customs and traditions that constitute the African culture, as well as define the role of culture and its significance in upholding communities.
It is to promote and celebrate the diverse customs and traditions that constitute the African cultural heritage.
The central objective of this event is to engage an open discussion on strategies of promoting the values embodied in the African culture and heritage, with an aim of empowering these communities through social economic development. This involves increasing awareness and understanding of the African traditional practices and their role in people's lives. It is also a time to reflect on some aspects that constitute unacceptable cultural practices in the present day. The event will be a 2-hour Zoom panel presentation with opportunities for the participants to contribute through questions and comments. This launch will usher in the Roots of Africa program to be aired on television, radio, and social media platforms through documentaries, series, and talk shows. This will capture and showcase the various dimensions of the African culture with an aim of creating a better understanding of the concepts that form and shape the African traditional lifestyle. The participants will be African cultural leaders, children of Africa and friends of Africa, development partners, stakeholders, and the AIDO network members. The Roots of Africa is brought to you by Equity Bank Limited, Equity Group Holdings, and produced by AIDO Network International and Raya TV.
If you do not know who you are, where you're from, and your culture and your heritage, where do you think you're going?